Well, ladies and gentlemen, on a Thursday, kind of surprising, right? To see me back here on a Thursday night. Man, well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Closing Acumen. Uh, my name is Henry Peabody. As always, it's a pleasure. It's a delight to be here. The other guys will be joining us soon. Lofa Julius, Robert Gagua Jr., Grace Gar, his honor, Tomalin George, Jimmy Ben Sanvee. Others will be joining us shortly as we dive into this. There are a lot of things going on. I hear there is a demonstration by a group called SOUP. I don't know, at the University of Liberia. I'm not sure about, but there are live reports coming in. And I also hear that uh, uh, Gloria Musu-Cart, the former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, has been released from jail on compassionate ground. With just, I think, 3 or 4 months since she was sentenced to jail, she has been released from jail, and that's it. That shows that uh, the uh, Musu, what's a little girl name that passed? I'm not good at this memory thing, but I think I got her name. Inja, wasn't it Inja Musu or what? That passed. That shows that her death is just done. Yeah, that's it. That's the end of it. Whoever killed her, whoever did it, only God one can decide now, which is very, very sad. It's very, very sad. Uh, that little girl was killed, and the court rendered a decision, and not even 6 months, the person found guilty uh, is released from jail. That is not what we talk about when it comes to justice. But I've always known that the justice system in Liberia is just a raw thing. Uh, you just got to protect yourself. Shalamusu is gone. Uh, it's over, and those involved are not being released. But let me recognize some folks, guys. We're looking forward. If you want to just help us to share the show today, it would be great. The first person here today was Christian Roberts. Christian, I'm not a polo man, but sometimes I don't know how I end up with all these polo t-shirts. I don't know how, but I just got to like it with a yes, Christian. So that's why you see me with polo, But I like it. I got a lot. Man, I'm not trying to brag about it, but you're talking about 30 or 40 t-shirts over the years. I've been having them over the years, so that's fun. I just like to buy these things. I don't know how I end up being all poor. Ali Kamara, good to see you. And good to see you. This is the best. This is the best show. Great to be here. Thank you so much. Hi, Ali. Good to see you. No conspiracy theory. The voice of the independent. Yes. Thomas Beer from all the way Belgium. Man, look out for us. We'll be coming there very soon. On our way to Germany. We'll be coming very soon. Very, very soon. Mad Madrid Chelsea soiree. Good evening to our favorite panelists and closing acting. Thank you. Thank you so much. Uh Gonsu Zur, Dr. Peabody, cool Gonsu, Gonsa. Josiah Machale, good evening, family. I'm watching from District Number 5. Hey, brother, good to see you. Good to see you from District Number 5. KP Country First. I met you in Holland. Oh, yeah, we did. Hopefully, God's willing, brother, we'll meet again next month in Germany by God's grace. I'm hoping to be there. I'm all set. In fact, tonight we'll be playing a little ad from the Liberian Association in Europe. Uh, Thomas B. Boss watching from Sydney, Australia. Bro, thank you, man. Thank you, man. From Australia, I got a friend there, Robert Bado Kennedy. He's in there in Australia as well. But welcome, guys. Help us share this show. We are joined now by one of our chief panelists and hosts, all the way from the motherland. He's in Liberia. This is his second day in Liberia. Chief Saint Tomalin, Nyenwolo, George. Tomalin, welcome. And how is the city, our city of Monrovia? Man, how is Monrovia, Liberia?
Hey, one thing, it's good to be back again on the closing argument, and I want to say hi to all of our viewers in the U.S. and around the world. We are live on Truth FM and Hot FM, and also we are on local radio station across the country. And well, Monrovia is calm. One of the good things about I enjoy so far is every morning I get to go to the PHP Park to do my walking. Man, I enjoy this morning, man. You walk in, you see by the ocean, and you see, and you think you're in Europe when you walk in at that park. I'm not kidding, man. You see the water, After you finish walking, then you can go and exercise, But I enjoy it, and people go there. And one of the good things, President, we had did left for the Liberian people. That park is amazing, and I really enjoyed my morning walk there, And it's health is wealth, So it's good. When you're in Liberia, go to the park and enjoy yourself and exercise and burn some of the calories, Because you mind if food in Liberia, you will you will puff up. So I this time around, I'm very careful. Yeah, yes, and because of that, I in the morning we go for a walk, come back, eat our vegetables. This morning I had cucumber and watermelon and water. Yeah, and that's all I ate for breakfast. Then I went to do my routine, I run around, and then went to see my mom. And then I had a meeting with one or two people, then I came back. But at the park two, the Peabody, I see the security, they're on top of the game. It's well, maintenance workers are working, cleaning the place. It's
You should
clean.
take some pictures, Tomalin. You should take some pictures.
I got some pictures. My brother would download. I'm sure I'll have it tomorrow on the show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's download and send it. That's one of the
yeah,
best parks in Liberia there. In fact,
yeah.
in West Africa, to be honest.
And one of the things I noticed, I also see is that I noticed in the city. One of the good thing I will tell you this though. Let's talk the good news about the Buckeye people first. The motorbike riders, they have a helmet now. The passenger got helmet. The motorbike drivers got a helmet on, and they have the helmet. And the police, if you have a helmet, police pull you over, checking your documents, make sure you get insurance, all the stuff there. That's good about that though. I one of the things I admire the helmet. Everybody wearing helmet nowadays, and so forth. The traffic is still congested and so forth. But when you pass around, people crying and they say, they say the time rough. So I told you, I was telling you off record. I went to the tailor shop and I went to go and to go out, to go get to show myself suit for my sister program on Sunday. So when I got there, I tried to disguise myself and try to see if nobody would recognize me. So I told the tailor, I said I'm working in Lens and Mines because the man will charge you different from what they charging the person the people that live on the ground. So when I told him, he followed, he told my measurement, everything was fine. The minute somebody recognized me, oh, that's Tony George there. I will honor that place. He said, oh, that the guy said the guy there. I will honor that place. I live out fast. Man, body, there's nowhere you go, they won't recognize you, man.
I know, I
Try
can
to disguise
imagine.
yourself. I have my dog shoes on today, my cap. I went to my site, cut my load. The man came messing with. Excuse me, is this a guy? Can be on the show? Oh, my name is Anderson. Nice meeting you. I'm so happy to see you. I was like, so that's right now it's late, but I can't go. I'm at home because I'm not gonna go out there, and especially we're critical of people, who are there
Yeah.
come come for you. You're critical, but that's how things are. But again, I'm happy to be back home. I feel good. Um, let's pray for our country. Our country. Let's pray for the government. Pray for the president, his government. Let's see what because they got 5 years to go.
Hmm.
Let's see what happens. But Liberia is in a very serious situation. in these prayers, And one of the things is that everybody's talking in the city is that the same thing they talk about George Weah and the people that left power, the same thing we see happening again. That's the news around now. Everybody's saying the same thing. And I heard as I was coming, they talk about the releasing Dora Scott on compassionate grounds. And that's a serious argument going on right now. Because according to lawyers, to legal practitioners, they're saying that you only be released on compassionate ground if there's a health issues or something serious. So are you saying that all of those who are in prison that have serious problems will you release them on compassionate ground? And that's a debate. And again, always say that the Liberian people our justice system is in question. Somebody has been convicted for murder, and you're releasing them on compassionate grounds. I mean, trying to do that. Don't forget, she's a steward of the ruling Unity Party. She was a lawyer for them during the case, the legal case, and so forth. So that's the issue we're having, and people are concerned about that, about her release coming on a compassionate ground. It's a debate that's going on right now. And another thing is trending to is the Senate. I saw the release from the pro tem office that that they spend $50,000 on the retreat, but at the same time, in the release she did not indicate that they gave 10,000 to each senator. I've heard Senator Snow saying, well, because the 10,000 was for the legislative engagement, the legislative engagement money. And the question is, when JFK is running, do not have drugs, and these lawmakers have the audacity to take $10,000 to say, or for the legislative engagement, what engagement are you doing? Go sit in the camp for few days, and one I think American is saying 2 days, Dillon saying 5 days, and so forth. And that's why when the minute Dillon arrived from South Korea with the president, he ran to Buchanan quick, and so forth. And for the record, there were only 29 senators that received that money. The newly elected senator from Nima County, Yan Twan, did not receive it because he wasn't captured in that whatever the case, but he wasn't captured at the time. So only 29 senators, 29 times 10,000. That's how much was spent for each senator. And 50,000 was spent for the eating, the accommodation, the support staff, and so forth.
So you're talking about 290,000.
Yes.
Plus 50,000.
I mean,
wow.
That was spent, and that's what's happening. And it's concerning. It's of concern to people, and people are crying, concerned about that. And but that's the country we're in right now, and we pray that reality will soon set in and people will get serious. But it's a serious challenge going on, so there's a serious thing happening. But I don't know what's happening, but that's what's going on, man.
Wow.
And so, but that's
dang, that's a lot of money, though. 10,000 times 29. And it's really sad.
And they're justifying. They are justifying it. They are justifying that such money. But again,
yes, Tomalin. I understand that because the executive support the Senate, they are giving them what they need, all the packaging thing. But when it comes to the House of Representatives, like Representative Foucault said, they are giving them nothing. They have not given them anything.
But there can be reactions though. The legislature, the House, they can stall the agenda of the president. They can stall a lot of things that can be done. They have a lot of tools they can use if they found out that they are trying to strangulate them. There are a lot of things they can do. I don't think for a second the President Bouaka and want to go that route with the House, because don't forget the House is very powerful. Anything that comes that goes such action from this House, it comes emanate from the House and go to the Senate, and from there it goes to before it becomes law. So I think they got to tread very carefully. But I'm sure they have gotten the message, that the House will not leave no stone unturned. They're going to make sure that they get their just benefits that is required by law, and that they won't be treated like a second class group. But well, that's what happened. But just the fact that each senator received $10,000, 29 senators, and and now I'm happy that I know people can criticize him. I would not criticize Martin Colley. I would not criticize him. People criticize Martin Colley because he's speaking out. I mean, for the fact that Martin Colley has the courage to come up now and call them out. I spoke to Martin on the phone. Yes, I can support you, but if you try to go contrary, I will call you out. That's how somebody who is truthful would do to you. A friend would do to you. Yes, but Martin Colley is not. He's not missing his words. He have tried his best. Right now, he's doing his best to communicate with the president through different people. I think the president I think he had some engagement today. I heard people say he was throwing jab at Martin indirectly. Who knows? But Martin will not relent. Martin he will continue to be fiery. I know he made a case for them to get elected. He one of the strong member of the rescue team. He was making a case for them. He went above and beyond to make a case for the election. But now that he see them deviating from their plan, the promises they made, he decided to come up strong and say, well, now that's not what we signed up for. That's not what we said we're going to do. So now we see happening. So it's that he calling them rescue rascals. He calling them rescue rascals. That's how he calling them, rescue rascals. And he's not compromising with them. And I can tell you, in the next couple of days or a week from now, there'll be a lot of noise around here. People will make a lot of noise. And especially, I'm watching the DEA case very carefully. The decision the president will make, you will see if that decision is made the wrong way, it will be reaction. Every action is equal and opposite reaction. And I can see, depending on how the DEA results, the case will come up. I see the president reacting, if he react differently, and those involved will react.
Yeah.
Because, yes, this will react. And that's what we see happening. And trust me, it's something that people are watching carefully, the DEA case. I've met all the in that case, and everybody's prepared everybody want to see the best results.
Ultimately, I think our guest will soon be coming on. Our special guest today is the former Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia, Councillor Serena Cephas. He's going to be our special guest today. We're going to be talking a wide range of things. I'm glad he's here. We're going to talk about that Gloria Musso-Scott thing as well, and talk about a lot of things that's happening. Martin Colley just wrote again in the Senate. He said you budgeted $7,000 for the media, but you only gave them 40,000 Liberian dollar, which is $200 after the travel from Monrovia to Buchanan. You treated the media with all respect. Expect them to broadcast your views. Rascals. That's from Martin Colley. And another thing that he wrote there, he said the economy, that was 5 hours ago. He said the economy is no longer in the toilet. It just left the toilet. It is now septic tank. You wasted thousands of public money, but refusing to provide the budget and financial report. Is this what you call open government? He said rescue rascals. He also said here, this is coming from somebody who put his mind, his heart and soul out there for the Unity Party. Martin K. Colley. He said the least room in the hotel Buchanan is 125 per night. 108 people times 3 nights times 125. What? Add feeding of 108, transportation, hall, and all of that. And you spend all that money. And he also talked about the president not making his asset public. So why do you declare asset when you can't make it public? And you say you are running for change. You say you're running to bring about change in the country. Why do you declare asset when you can't do it? as well, even the DEA case, man. I think. Let me say this. I know I've been a little hard on them. I'm not compromising in any way, but I think the Fatika brother meant a lot to work for that country, and I know it did not go the way they wanted. But I hope they are given. He's given the opportunity to come and prove himself and go back to work. I think they meant well. The only thing I was concerned about was just that impunity, the impunity part of it. But I think he meant well. And from what I'm hearing on the outside, the drugs and other things that have been going on, I think he meant well. So Hassan for the guy, I think he should be given an opportunity to continue his work. I think he was. I mean, he just was a little bit too hyper doing his job, but I think he should be given an opportunity. But it's sad if you have a guy that Marty Cully coming up and saying these things. It's really bad. And one of the person who was so loud and open during the last election during the WIA administration, we used to call him the light. He had this light that was shining everywhere that people could see. He was the light that was shining in darkness, and every people were talking about was Senator DeLong. Oh, I'm the light. Oh, I'm the light that people shining. Oh, I'm going to take my pay. My first full tax in my pay, I'll give it to Monserrata Development. Is that money still going there? All those things. Look, I'm saying it here because I personally supported Senator Dillon with thousands of dollars. I give money. I give a lot of money, even with my friend, our former host on Spoon, Stanton. Sometimes Stanton will call us together, and he said, "I'm raising money, and I want all the other to donate certain amount of money," and we all did, knowing that Dillon would have been life. But these are folks who go behind their friends. They claim not to take money. You take the money behind in the back door, then you come back and criticize the very folks you took the money from. I think it's sad. Looking at this, there are places the light, Liberia don't even have full potential of when it comes to electricity. The schools and people, those JFK don't even have drugs and things like that. People get sick and go to JFK. They have to send a relative to go and buy medicine to the pharmacy or send them to go and pay for blood to give the family blood and all those things. Those money could have gone to the blood bank, gone to other areas that will make JFK a real, people who can afford. But just for 3 days, you take all that money and spend it on just merrymaking. Those who could drink and chill, they were all chilling, having a good time instead of having a retreat. Why couldn't you just have a retreat at a local hotel in Monrovia and come back the same day? Stuff like that. You traveling out of the country, you spending all that money like you're traveling to another country and having a retreat. I won't be surprised they'll start going to other African countries to have their retreat. Just the means of getting the money. That is sad. So guys, welcome. I mean, please share the show. We appreciate you sharing the show. Yes, I understand Gloria Musu's card is released. So Charlotte Musu, the little girl that was murdered, probably will not get justice. It's very sad for our country. I mean, it's very sad. There are other people in the jail that have been sick, and they have not released them on compassionate ground. But yet and still, they released Gloria Musu's card. Don't forget that Gloria Musu's card used to represent the party. She represented CDC. I mean, a United Party against that fake case against Mr. Cummings. She was one of the council there, and they are in power. Definitely, they're gonna give her a walk away. This is what you call rescue. And like bring people, that's your rescue. That's they all running all around. Oh, the rescue, the rescue. Good for you. Rescue not come. You better take the rescue and not be making noise here. But let's recognize some folks, man, that are here. Thompson B. Balls from Australia, Frank Howard, watching us from Sunny Coast City. Thank you. Winifred, our own sister, Winifred Smith from Maryland. Narini Kupoli is watching. Always good to see you, Mr. Mozart Dennis. It's an honor. It's a delight. Mr. Mozart Dennis from Minnesota. Miss Yamachu Kringa. You're not sure what's a new name now. You still using the old name. I know you got married recently. She's watching us from Minnesota. Uh, this Big Smoke Good Day, William. Welcome, Liberia, where the people break record globally. One female president, two former president, three our ancestor grandfather president. Rose Hutchison, watching from Benson Street. Jonathan James, where's Kev? Bro, you know Kev, no more calling and ask for him, James Nyanfor, watching from Washington, D.C., USA. Welcome back home. Tomalin, yeah, Tomalin's home. Ambassador R.C. Neiman. Kev is going what back to the convict. Okay, I'm not going to read that platform on fake news. Yeah, but good to see you. Aliyu Nooch Nooch. 20 minutes. Wow. Okay. It can be 50,000. Closing argument is great. We love closing argument, and it is just what it is. We are not here to run competition.
Yes,
Just
that's
is the chief coming to me?
where Alice gone.
Oh, Alice gone?
Yeah, he's coming.
Ah,
Yeah, so we
okay.
just got backup generator. So
Alice gone. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
I was thinking what I should do the show from here on that, but I said I would try. So but
Your current one.
we have backup generator on. So.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's the situation about it, and we are concerned about all of these things happening.
Yeah. 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 It's a lot. It's
Guys,
a lot.
people.
I'm worried about that little girl. It appears that justice, she's not going to get justice again. And that's a Liberia we live in. People get there, and you can do anything and walk free if you know the higher up and got money. You can walk free, and that's what we always say. So, guys, share the show. We're looking forward to a very action.
Charlotte Musu. She was killed. She was murdered, and today, her country is what's happening now. Apparently, her murder case is just going to go down, and there's no reason why the justification being given for this compassionate release, something that everybody concerned about. And I think the government, the Guaga government needs to really explain better to the Liberian people, because this will go down in history as something that people really discouraged about, very discouraged about. So we will not stop. We'll continue to talk about it. We'll talk about it. We'll not stop. No matter what happened, we'll talk about it. Shadow Musu deserved justice, and there should be more explanation on the compassionate release of the former Chief Justice.
Yeah, it was sad. She was sentenced, and to see that less than a year she's been released, and then you're talking about unresolved murder trial. Uh, so there will be no justice for that child. Unfortunately, all I can tell you folks in Liberia, just take care of yourself. If you rely on the justice system of that country to protect you and to protect your family, that's why you see we struggle internationally when it comes to investor coming in our country. People come and invest it. There are people who come there and invested the money, and people take it and eat it. And when they go to court, they win. There's a lady just recently who and her husband have worked here for a while, and this lady has been sending money to one company in Liberia that are building homes. I think it's called Millennium Construction, whatever they were doing, building homes. This lady had been sending her money, paying, getting ready to move home with her husband. Her husband is not a Liberian; he's a Caucasian, and they ate that lady money. They kept giving her different old houses. Oh, this is your house. We're going to fix it. Oh, we'll give you this one and give you that. And they ate that lady money. And that lady, I don't know where she got her money up to now. All she was requesting, I don't need the house again. She went to Liberia with her husband to see the house they would have been investing the money in. And what happened? Nothing. They ate the lady money. When she went to the court, somebody from the court, they sent a message, said, "Oh, the sheriff is coming to arrest you. You better move from there." So the accused ran away because somebody from the court had called and said they are coming to arrest you. And then the accused ran away. This is Liberia. So, folks, how can anyone come and say they want to invest? And honestly, I have been looking and I've seen property to buy the home there on the Rebel. I think somewhere on the Ralphie Highway. I was going to buy a 3 bedroom up there. I had come back all excited. I went and visited the place all excited. But when I read that lady's story, I'm like, Chineke, I ain't even gonna put my money over there because somebody will chop it and tell me. So, and you go to the court, people taking land right now. The land they don't own. My father-in-law have a lot of land at Robertsfield. Uh, Somebody went and just built on his property. Government official, just went, built on his property, and now your land. He got the original deal. Go there and built on the man property, and it's not the land. And what you would do when you go to the court gave you to run around, you know. And if you can't get justice in your country, where are you going to get justice at? Lofa Julius, good to see you, my brother, and welcome again.
Thank you, Dr. Peabody. So, Tomalin, how's the motherland?
Hey, Lufa, what's up, man? What else then? Yeah, man. Bless the land, But you were saying something about it, the journalists that went to Buchanan. It's true, though. They received Liberian dollars. I was among some journalists today. They were telling me, yes, these people have hearts. But and I don't understand. But again, the Liberian people, they will go to election again and elect the same people.
St. Tomalin and Dr. Peabody, especially to everyone that is following this platform, this is a clear indication that those who portray themselves to be the rescue or rescuers are more harm to Liberia than you can ever imagine. The sad part about this, as I sit, I only think about myself and others who are not financially capacitated to bribe the lawmakers or the woman in the market who will never get justice because she doesn't have it. There's no justice for the poor. Like Quincy B said. Quincy B in his song said, I mean, those who are supposed to be representing you, they're abusing you. So a young Charlotte would not get justice because of, those who may have been a part of it, the alleged perpetrators. All right. The alleged perpetrators are, they have all of these connections. They are within close proximities to people in government. They rub shoulders with people. And so for that reason, hey, the poor people get to be stepped on. And the 1%, are the ones who get the benefits of the law. Everybody else is just ignored. So, I mean, we don't get justice. We would not get justice until probably in heaven or maybe in hell. Other than that, Liberians don't have justice. They will never have justice. There will be justice. And the hurtful part about this, though, people would justify these actions until one of their relatives end up as victim. Then they want other people to sympathize with them. Then they want other people to join them and advocate for justice and accountability. It doesn't work like that. Look at Joshua. All right, the young man who actually ended up dead, I guess it was as a result of the brutal attack during the elections. No justice for him. The young lady or those who were part of the process, they're gallivanting the streets. They're all over the social media. They're living their lives. But this young man and his family, no justice. Look at the young lady, the lady who, I guess, throat was slacks. It's sad to say, but I just continue to say, this is what we pray. We pray for and pay for. That's where we are, Dr. Peabody. I'll stop at that note, man. Sad.
It's sad. I mean, I'm just reading this lady post, Yamature Kanga. She said, happened to me, Dr. Peabody, the land that I own right now, I paid for it twice. The first seller sold me someone else's land. They are a bunch of criminals. Can you imagine? You go and because you know why all these things is happening? Because we don't have a justice system that's credible. At least if you poor and you got money, you got nothing. The last place beside God that you should look to should be the justice system. When people ill treat you, when people take advantage of you, when people rob you, and if you can't get justice in that country, who want to go there? And that's one of the things investors complain about all the time. Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
I'm getting information from the Deputy Minister of Information from Public Affairs, Daniel Sano. He's saying that news of former Chief Justice Mususkat and co being released on compassionate leave is false and misleading. No such thing has happened. Well, look, there's always smoke somewhere. Perhaps the public outcry, the public reaction that have been happening since we heard about this news, and then we're saying it on a closing argument. Let me say this, guys. The closing argument. Let me say something. Guys, don't mind what people will say. We are heard live throughout the country. People listen to us. And not because you don't see 5,000, 4,000, no. It's some you know how the internet works this time. Everybody can increase the numbers.
Right.
We won't get just now. It won't get 10,000 now. Lofa Julius can do something now. No, go 10,000. Nobody watching people show for 10,000 in 20 minutes. 10,000 people come on your show.
You see it? You see it live?
Watching the show on Radio Land. There are thousands. Yeah.
Even see it in live.
People watch the show all over the country. Yeah. So that Vla number you've seen all the places, then I wing it. That Vla Latina part of no.
Vla. That's what I tell you somebody.
Yeah. So what's
the
10,000. That Vla. Everybody know that one, that Vla. Yeah, but in Radio Land, Lofa, people are watching in two other countries now that you're not seeing. That you can see. Those are on YouTube. Those are watching. And then some people too, they come on the show. They want for you to see them instead of watching your show. So they come and just, So, guys, we are live. We are throughout the country. In fact, you will get to know when you come to Liberia one day. When you travel, you say, you say how to, if you go in Lofa County, go Grand Jida post about you Lofa Jida, and you be on that place, you get to know for real. So,
I love it. There were places I went.
We are covered live. We are on True FM. True FM is, in fact, let me tell you about True FM. They are the largest. All the stations in the guys you see today on OKFM, they keep on True FM. They are the mother. True FM brought all of them up, but they went a separate ways. And I want to give credit to the CEO of True FM, Laiki Ability. That young man has done a lot in this industry. He has empowered young people. He's still trying to develop young journalists, empowering them to the fullest potential. And I want to send a shout out to him. He and O'Neill Arabas. They are doing an incredible job. The guys, and they're keeping the morale of the staff up. And I want to say, look, they are doing an incredible job. And I just want to say, encourage them to continue. They need all the support to get.
The guys at OKFM too. Joseph Bala, the CEO.
So
they're all doing a great job.
FM, man. Yeah.
I think the guest is relatively.
The guest is in the back though.
Somebody
in the back now?
Yeah. You want to bring it on?
No, he's not yet. I just spoke to him. He on the way to the studio right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll wait for him.
Guys, look, so far, my internet is still, it's challenging in Liberia. So they think the current just went. It took time to bring the generator on and then get back on air. So, guys, please share the show. And guys,
But
you
tell me
know, today
why you didn't go to Buchanan? They're sharing money in
I am.
Buchanan, bro. Why you didn't go
Uh,
to Buchanan? They're sharing money in Buchanan.
We
no,
can't.
but
No,
I will begin, but maybe next week when I go. No, but I mean, I want some people they're sending money a big.
we cannot. We
So
cannot. It's a
the
hot
next
air
thing we'll
fly
say,
right now.
we'll get a man mile. I beg you,
I
yeah.
know, right?
Money, I beg you, yeah.
What?
Yeah, but guys, let it call it. Let us not feel that we are doing an incredible job. People praise you. You walk in the street, people thanking you for having diverse views on issues. And I repeat, closing argument. This is not an opposition platform. This platform is for Liberian people. We can criticize the government. We can praise the government. We can praise the opposition. We can praise the opposition. We are not owned by the opposition. That's why we don't censor anybody here. Nobody is censor. You speak your mind freely. If President Boaga is doing the right thing, you give him the praise. If you're doing the wrong thing, you criticize. You're not here to just be negative. No, you say, I would never say I want the government to fail or Boaga government. I would never say that. I'm a true Liberian. I'm a true Liberian. I don't want the government to fail. I want to pray for them to succeed. But if they're not doing the right thing, we're under obligation to criticize them, call them out.
Of course, of course. That's the right thing to do. Got to criticize. We got to criticize them. And uh, 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 when they go wrong. Guys. Like yesterday, we were talking. We had the representative Safoko, and he made some strong declaration here yesterday. There was a lot of things that he talked about. And one of the things that I continue to struggle with is why is it that the executive want to distance themselves from the House? Why do they want to do that? They only want to work with the Senate. Is it because they got most of their people there, the rescue whatever with in the Senate, and that's why you don't want to work with the House? I think that's a
Well,
very mistake, though.
I,
You know.
I, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were done.
Go ahead.
I personally think, though, I agree with the House separating themselves from the Senate. This is where the balance of power comes in. When there's time for things to be done where both you know sides have to work together, I would agree with that. But right now, I think I support the idea of the independence of these various okay segments or sectors of government, because if they start to work together, if the representatives and the senators are just hands in hands doing everything, then where is the check and balance? And this is what we want in Liberia. We don't want the reps to think that they can simply just grab anything and push it up to the Senate and then it gets approved, or the Senate feel that they can just do anything and get away with it. When we start to sense this check and balance from both ends, then maybe we can start to say, okay, guys, there are places where we will have to get that bilateral work working relationship, work together. But until then, with the system functioning the way it is, I'm one person who is heavily in support of the representatives in fact going against the Senate. But here's the catch to it, though. Why I'm celebrating that, my concern here is not that they want the independence of this institution, it's because they are being denied their amenities. What is supposed to get the cars? Okay, remember, Darius DeLaw and other people now feel like they understand the politics. They know how to squeeze these guys and women to the extent where they will get what they want to get out of them. I give you a few more months from now, if they are consistently doing what they're doing, you will start hearing some people who will just start giving up. Be like, you know what? I got my family to feed. I'm gonna have to do this. I got this one to do. I'm gonna have to give up, and they'll start giving in instead of consistently bringing these guys to public ridicule like we are seeing today. Whoever knew today that Darius DeLaw and Yomdekanga Lawrence will be prosecuting the people, in a way that people will not even imagine, having to take the amount of money they are taking to go on retreats, and their own people who brought them to power are now complaining, and they're crying, and they just don't care. And Darius DeLaw is kind of waving people off. Like, I don't care what you say about it. I got 9 years. And after this, I will be like Edwin Snow. I will go somewhere else and run for office. I will go to Buchanan and go run so that Yombi can go and run for the presidency. So this is the strategy. It worked for Edwin Snow. And I think they feel like it worked for them too.
Yeah, but Julius, look. I don't know. I think Liberian people, anyway, Liberian people are beginning to open their eyes. You don't see the excitement again in. I want to talk about the light, the light, the light. They don't see the excitement in the light. Liberian people are beginning to open their eyes. I'm still yet to realize when he came to took oath first. What is happening to his paycheck now? Is he still cutting it in half? Is
There
he
you
still going
go.
to the district? All those fly. Those are all fly. Oh, I'm going to give half of my money to my district. And you are calling all these press conferences and things like that. I'm going to do this, and we're going to send this other money to this place, and my people are going to get it, and we're going to do it for development. You're taking the check. So it happening now.
So, so Dr. Peabody, here's the thing, right? And that's why people often ask me, but Lofa, why you said, you supported DeLon, and all of a sudden, you just start being very critical of DeLon. I supported DeLon, and the reason why I supported DeLon, I have no regrets to that, right? Those who were in the race with DeLon, of course, we wanted to send a resounding message
Yeah,
to the government at the time, hoping that DeLon would serve as that benchmark
right.
for some level of transparency, hoping
Mhm.
that Darius DeLon will set that example that others will follow through and say, you know what, going forward, let us use DeLon as a rubric to transformation. Unfortunately, all of the promises that DeLon made, I was very skeptical that DeLon wasn't going to live up to those promises. One, he said salary reduction. I supported DeLon candidacy because of his promise to
I
fight
did. I
reduction,
did too.
right? Secondly, DeLon's position on dual citizenship. He initially opposed dual citizenship and then later changed his mind to support the dual citizenship. Then I said, good. Third, Darius DeLon advocacy. His stance on certain things at the time. His fight against corruption. When Darius DeLon came up, he started initially with the Adolph Lawrence class of advocacy. Okay, that's where he
Yeah,
started from. The Adolph,
scam.
right? And some of us went there. We told Darius DeLon. We said, DeLon, we will support you, but in as much as I support you, the video is out there. I said, Darius DeLon, in as much as I support you, I will be one of your biggest critics. And it's not being done because I don't like you as a person, but it's because it is bigger than you as a person. The country need help. The country is in dying need of help. Darius DeLon told his people in his community he would never erect a fence around his house because the people in his community are much more of security and safety nets for him than the police themselves. Less than a year into his position as a Senate, his justification was he was being hunted. So, what about this statement? So, some of these things, when you look at them, you can tell that, okay, DeLong wasn't ready for transparency. I made several proposals to DeLong, including the idea of making sure that the voting records at the Senate was made public. There was no more yay nay kind of voting. It should be on the record. It should be published every day after sections or every session. The public should know on the voting record. The attendance and everything should be made available on the website so people can
Yes,
know. But anyway,
yes.
we have our guests here, so let me stop at that.
Yeah, we want to start, folks. It's my honor to welcome to the closing acumen. I believe that this is the first time welcome His Excellency Honorable Councillor Sama Serena Sifas, the former Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia, to the closing acumen. Honorable Sifas, it's good to see you and welcome to the closing acumen.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I didn't know that the closing argument starts at 9 p.m. My assumption then, not as now, was at 10 p.m. So I was bracing myself for 10 p.m. until I was informed that I was late. And as you can rightly see, that minutes have passed before I arrived. But I'm
Oh,
glad to. Thank you very much.
it's okay. It's good to have you, sir. How are you doing, and how's your family doing?
He's muted.
You're muted. Yeah.
Counselor, you're muted. There you go.
An adjustment, or
There you
I
go.
switch to another mic.
Okay. Yes, sir. I would say, how you doing, and how's your family doing?
He's gonna switch to another mic.
Ah, okay. Yeah, it's always a little
Yeah.
problem over there. Yeah, but you guys, I heard what you said. I supported the law and Young, and and now I really don't do a lot in Liberian politics no more. Because the confidence in the politics, the politician in that country, it just sad because people have said that. I mean, you what I don't get, you beat on George Weah, you give him name, you call him this, you call him that, but then you go right back and doing the same thing. You're not even the what the essence of going to Liberia anti-corruption or whatever. Say you declare your asset, and then you say you're not making it public. So what? That's not showing me in the check, but say you can't cash it. Just keep it in the envelope. Don't take it out and cash it. And if that transparency, is that what you call transparency? Is that the rescue, the change you're going to make in the country? We want to be honest here. We beat on George Weah government. When I fired, did a lot of things to George Weah. You know, but now you are doing the same old thing. Oh, you said that George Weah did not have educated people,
Mr.
this,
Speaker,
that, but you're doing this.
absolutely teams of
Yeah.
correctness. So like to
So
say,
that I think he's ready.
Councilor Sifos, are you ready?
can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you. We can hear you loud and clear, Councilor Sifos. Can you hear us?
Counselor Sifers, can you hear us?
You both hear me.
I think they gotta check the audio. Well, and let's just kind of let's wait while he get that the sound check done in the
Yes,
back.
it's okay. It's okay.
He can you hear us now?
Can you hear us now?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Welcome again, Councilor Sifos, and welcome to the closing acumen. How you doing? How's your family?
I'm okay. Except I don't know what's the argument that we are now closing, but okay.
All right. Well, we're gonna have a lot to chime in here tonight, and hopefully, we'll see. Maybe we'll keep it open again. It's continuously, open. So, but I would like to welcome the counselor with me is my co-host Lofa Julius. Tomalin George will be joining us shortly. Yeah, he's trying to log back on. I think the internet issue. He's in Liberia. He's trying to log back on, and you'll be joining us shortly. So we'd like to begin. I will ask you two questions, and then we'll go to Lofa, and then the other panelists will join us to ask a question. Sir, my question here, I'd like to go to something very interesting. I was just talking about it. The president declared said that he declared his asset, but he's not going to make it public. They have not made it public, so nobody really knows what the president have or don't have. And since you are from the legal mind, can you tell us what it is? What is the law that protects him from declaring his asset?
But the name of the process he says is called asset declaration. Once the president said, I declare my asset, and then I won't make it public, so we have to look for the definition of declaration in the context in which the president uses that. Um, in my opinion, honest opinion, I think if you use the FOI, you'll be able to get it. But I don't think it's advisable for it to be on the social media or in the public domain, but it's accessible if you proceed to the Bilateral Anti-Corruption Commission. And on the FOI, you can see it. So the fact that he make it public that he has declared asset, I think it's up to his need as a declaration. So legally, I don't think there should be anything out of fuss about this. I think anybody who has a serious concern should invoke the FOI, the Freedom Information Act, to be able to look at those assets.
All right, but kind of see for the folks say you are a bit low, so if you can talk loud, then I mean kind of low, so if you can talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm like this now, I'm no longer the president you knew. I'm now in the Rule 43 qualification person on the International Criminal Court. So I have developed my mode of discussion and attacking issues. So tonight you will see a different person. It's not like the fiery Solicitor General you knew years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we see that the president, the Unity Party, they were on President Weah. They say he declared his asset. He did not make it public. Do you think it's the right thing to do of not making your asset public? Is the right thing to do?
The question is a bit opinionative. So do you think if the law provides that there should be an asset declaration, you don't have to be bordered on somebody's personal perception or opinion? So I don't have a personal opinion because the law says that there should be asset declaration.
All right, Lofa, go ahead. I'll come back to the counselor.
Councilor Cephas, welcome to the closing argument. Great to have you on here. You mentioned earlier you didn't know what you were going to be closing or what argument you're going to be closing. Let's start with the just ended election and the court case that you contributed to and you were seen as the face of the entire prosecution process. Let's talk about that. What do you think of your performance in that? Let's close the argument on that particular case to start the conversation going forward. What do you make of your performance serving as a Solicitor General and the way the case ended? What do you make of it?
Thank you. My qualification transcends the borders of Liberia. I am a senior lawyer of the International Association of Prosecutors. I am a lawyer, defense counsel, qualified to practice before all international criminal courts and tribunals. I am now being designated to be given an assignment to be taken up at an international criminal court to review cases of people who have been convicted, some of them being sentenced to 50 years imprisonment. And I'll be required soon to be able to look at some of these things. So my performance was excellent. To date, the record will show it. You can go on the ICC website since 2016. The qualified certified counsel of the International Criminal Court on the list of counsel. I was vice president of the European Bar, senior member of the Association of European Lawyers, a member of the European Criminal Bar Association. I'm also a senior lawyer of the European Fraud and Compliance Lawyers Group. I am the only Liberian duly qualified, honored the African Court of Human and People's Rights in Arusha, Tanzania. So all these things were achieved based on my performance as Solicitor General at the time. That is behind me. Really don't want to make an issue out of it. I think the past is the past. I did my best, and that's what I prayed, and I'm grateful that somebody who has succeeded me is up to the task, especially the current Solicitor General of the Republic is up to the task because when we were kids, we were going to school in Tottenham High School. The two of us always associated ourselves with the criminal justice system. He was Minister of Justice in 1983. I was Solicitor General in 1983. We went on to become what we dream of in our lives. So for me, the rest is history. But I think I performed exceptionally well. The record is there. Yeah. To date, if you see, for example, I was also a senior counsel of the Special Tribunal, the UN Special Tribunal. If you check the list of counsel of qualified and certified counsel of the International Criminal Court, the only name you'll find from the Republic of Liberia is me. I'm known in Europe. I'm highly respected in Europe. Many a time and too often I intervene because the legal profession should be developed in such a way that it addresses the concerns of Liberia and the interest. And it is through the courts the people of Liberia engage the government. So the court system have to be, serviceable and should be occupied by a qualified, competent person who understand the law. If you are Solicitor General of the Republic, you should be somebody who is versed in the law. I know going forward, I don't know what is the focus of the closing argument. I know you asked me a question with new development I obtained today. But I think I'll tell you this. In a time and too often, sometimes I go to court and just sit and watch. I'm working on a book that will come out in 2027 when certain people no longer around. And the title of the book is The Liberian Supreme Court, my opinion, experience, and how I see it. And you see it deals with the criminal justice system, it deals with the judicial processes and how matters are adjudicated and the difficulties involved in enforcing court's judgment, the difficulties involved in acquiring the requisite, financial resources to support, prosecution or the judicial process in our country. So it's a very brilliant book, and you will like it.
Thank you.
So we can continue. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think you kind of threw a question in there as far as you don't know what the closing argument is about, but I think just quickly, part of the reason why the closing argument is in existence is to have our public abreast of the day-to-day activity and keep our folks back home informed using expertise like experts like yourself and your expertise to keep our general public informed of the day-to-day activity and such as the legal system. Going forward, you spoke of several accolades and qualification or achievement that you have. You're currently sanctioned by the United States government. Do you have any intention or have you started to challenge that decision? And if so, what is currently going on with that? If you're deciding to challenge that decision, before we even get to that, what do you make of it? Will you?
If this was the subject matter of discussion, I would have given it a second thought to make any public pronouncement of this. But let me tell you this: as an international criminal lawyer, now duly certified as an international defense counsel of the RRMCT and the International Criminal Court. Let me tell you what I think. I feel hurt every day that I know the Lord and I cannot defend myself, and the Lord cannot exonerate me. And many a time and too often I realized, when I used to travel, to answer your question, when I used to travel between 2012 and 2017, many a time I came across Liberians. And they told me, they said, like, Seaman, there will come a time you will regret being a Liberian citizen. Because if anything happens to you, no Liberian, in fact, your own people will cry you down. And you see, we changed our nationalities and we are living happy, and life is just how you make it. Today, I regret that because even many a time when we travel, I see friends use different foreign passports. And they don't use Liberian passport. Go up, when they leave, you come to Liberia, they are Liberian. Look, the situation involving me is highly unfortunate. It was a rivalry, it was just a misconception between me and my boss in the Ministry of Justice. And he used his connection with the former ambassador here to get me into mess. His whole intent was to eliminate me. I have compelling evidence. All those who were involved, I know them. Your question is, what are you doing? Look, when I review the entire arrangement involving me, my role that I must claim that I must public welfare, I must state assets, blah, 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 blah. It was involving money laundering, blah, blah, blah. You know, money laundering has to be through banks and all the kind of thing. I only had in my account up to the time I was placed on sanction, I have my checking account, I mean, saving, how they call it, salary account was 1,500
Wow.
Liberian dollar and 150 US dollar was there. I have nothing absolutely. All what I mean was created by Musadin, and my frustration was I've written the president, the former president, asking him for an investigation. And the fear for which the very person who was involved into this thing, the fear he had was that if the president had initiated an investigation, obviously the people will say he's the one gave all the information. They will have to face him. So what they did, they wrote a counter information to the president and say, anything here, the American people, the early morning when we placed on sanction on the 15th of August 2022, Musadin and Samuel Twe. Samuel Twe had a beef with Maggie, Musadin had a beef with me. The both of them went to the president and say, immediately suspend them because you're about to go to America and you have to build your good image. We were suspended without any hearing, without any trial. Well, such was the time and such was the condition because we haven't had the opportunity to see people being sanctioned by the government. There was no experience. So I wrote the president a letter and said, Mr. President, we haven't seen any corrupt person in the last 200 years who have been tried and convicted to be sentenced. The last time we had an opportunity to try people, it was the military, but it was the same military that staged the coup. It was the same military that investigated the people. It was the same military that tried the people and executed them. That was not fair. That was not fair. I mean, I'd say, Mr. President, that was not fair. So we have an opportunity. At least I am a living person. Can you set up a committee of national experts from ECOWAS here and there to investigate and require of the American government the evidence against me? And if I'm found guilty, so that I can serve my sentence, so I will know. Musadin wrote a counter letter to the president. And I tell you, my brother, to the extent where Josh, we only have 4 days in remaining to leave power, he was still appointing Musadin as associate justice for a case that is now before the Supreme Court. So you can see the personal vendetta. You understand? Today, the truth is, every Liberian has seen me. I'm innocent. But what can I do? I live my own with God. I live my own with God. Because even the lawyer we were trying to contact in America, his fee is 800 per hour US. We scramble every day in Liberia to find bread to eat. Hey, my brother, where would I get 800 US dollars per hour? If the man works for 8 hours, you know that. You understand? So this is a kind of problem. But, you know, if you believe in God, we tell you, no sin go unpunished, no matter how long it takes. The South African were under apartheid regime for 375 years. It took one day in 1994 for them to get their freedom. I'm certain there is God. I'll get out of this. Trust me, unless there is no God.
Thank you, Counselor. And I just want to say it was never my intention to make you feel uncomfortable, but I just felt like
No, my brother. Let's discuss. Look, I was at the International Criminal Court recently. I went to the ICC prior to my admission on a Rule 43. And all of my friends came around me and everybody was consoling me. In fact, some were annoyed that I ever took the position of Solicitor General of the Republic. They said, how could you demean yourself to that kind of level? But anyway, that's life. You understand? That somebody, look, my brother, to the extent that 4 days before George Weah could leave office, he was still appointing Musa Dean. But in the fullness of time, you got to know, he was still appointing on what ground? Because Musa Dean stole one Omer diamond, and the case in the court below warned him. And so he boasted that before the case gets to the Supreme Court, he will be on a bench. So 4 days before George Weah could leave office, you were appointing Musa Dean to be Associate Justice of the Supreme Court. That was quite laughable. And clearly demonstrated a focus, lack of focus, especially in understanding the issues affecting the Liberian people. Sadly, all are down. But I always told friends, sometimes people try to, claim credit for the suffering of other people. So the question I've always asked, and I think the Liberian people actually need to know, is that how has that helped you? I'm unsanctioned. How has that helped you? In the last 50 years, let them show you any investment that those who they are boasting of that brought to Liberia. The whole thing has been criticism. And anyone here and there, show me one single investment. Somebody is unsanctioned. It has not brought food on your table. It has not done this for you. How has that improved your life? I think all Liberians should learn to pray for one another, because the population is so small. 5 million is just a suburb in Lagos. The population of Liberia is just a suburb in Lagos. Let me relate. But this country is blessed with too many wicked people. You understand? So my situation is a typical example of wickedness, sheer wickedness, and misconception. I was not interested in the manger. So let's assume I was even interested in the manger. A Liberian citizen has the right to aspire for greater heights, even including the presidency. If you listen to President Boakai's inaugural address, he laid out the trail as to where he came from and where he was. Nothing wrong with that. So let's assume I wanted to be Minister of Justice and Attorney General. I'm not qualified. I am. Today I'm an International Defense Counsel. Many a time a friend came to me and said, "Oh, you can't allow you to join prosecution because when you join prosecution, this is what you do. You'll be overlaid here and there." And so I said, "Okay, I'll join the defense team," because I work as a defense counsel for 10 years. So I'm now an International Defense Counsel of the International Criminal Court. Go on the website, check. I have written. Look, there are a lot of good things that I've done for Liberia. You know, the last time I heard people talking about, but you ask Jerome Verdier, he will tell you people, all 18 people are running around, who drafted that whole thing. Ask him, he will tell you. I have delivered a paper at the International Criminal Court in 2016. That paper is now the guiding post that is being used. You understand? So, my brother, most time we don't know the strength of each other and we fight to eliminate one another. This is wrong. This is crab mentality. You understand? For example, we have our University of Liberia. They teaching peacekeeping and conflict resolution and management, but every day they and the student can be here at local fighting. So the question I was asking is, well, conflict management, which one are you teaching? It's a normal Liberian thing. A normal Liberian thing. So one Liberian is in trouble, is suffering, the rest of the Liberian people laugh. We don't fight to lift everyone, each other. We fight to destroy one another. Even your closing argument, as brilliant as your closing argument may seem, anybody who disagrees will not deal with the issues, will deal with your personality. So I want to stop on that.
Thank you.
Councilor Cephas, thank you very much. Before we go to the other guys, Robert here and two guys here, before we go to them, I just want to ask you one question. I saw you passionately here talking about, your faith. You claim to faith a lot, and which is a great thing. I just want to ask you a question. Before when you were still Solicitor General, you had some the case against Mr. Alexander Cummins, and some of the comments you made. One of the comments you made was you were going to find him guilty. He was going to go there and send him to community service. He was going to go out there and teach. You made a decision, or you found him guilty in the court of public opinion. As a Solicitor General, you were out there talking about that you're going to find him guilty. Do you regret those decisions? Have you reached out to Mr. Cummins that you have talked about your faith, and you sound very passionate here tonight, and I I mean, I really enjoy what you say tonight. But have you found something in your heart to tell Mr. Cummings, look, Mr. Cummings, this happened. This is one Liberia. We all need to be together and stuff like that because he was disgraced. He was put out there in public. It was very disgraceful. Have you found things in your loving heart, your new heart, to say, you know what, I'll reach out to Mr. Cummings, I'll reach out to everybody because Liberia is a very small country in your own word, a suburb in Nigeria. Have you found that to say let's bygone be bygone? This is one Liberia.
I like to write, and I'm not at the other people who just talk. I like to write. If you see, there was a reason, and at the end of the time, I entered a knowledge process in favor of Mr. Cummings with prejudice to the state. I stated the reason. I have said, and I still maintain, that the charges against Mr. Cummings were loose in the event that the trial was in 2022. The crime he was charged for, or the reasons were taken to court for, was that he tampered with a document or he altered a document that was that would have prevented other candidates from contesting the election. It was a fact-finding mission. It's a code of first instance in the magistrate court. So that decision, in my opinion, in what I said, it was aloof. So first and foremost, the crime for which he was being tried, for which evidence was being gathered or being in it, was that the art complainer was still ahead. But we needed to clearly understand whether or not there was some alteration in the document. Indeed, it was. That was the past. I have written extensively on that. If you have an email, I can send that to you, and you will enjoy that. You enjoy the position of the Solicitor General on this matter. For example, if you see, I said if, so it means I was not definitive. If you say if I go to Kakata tomorrow, it doesn't mean that you're in Kakata. So by saying if he is convicted, it was not definitive that he was being convicted or he was convicted or declared convicted. No, I said if. So if we have rested evidence, obviously Mr. Cummings' team would have taken the witness stand, and maybe they would have.
Okay, thank you, sir. Robert Gagua will go next.
Thank you, Mr. Cephas. It's great having you on this platform, and thank you for availing yourself. I want to run right into it, and I think Tomalin partly, got my question started. But I'm listening to you talked about. You're using a lot of very strong adjectives, right? A lot of words that you're using here, right? You're talking about fair, right? Fairness. You're talking about being mistreated, right, by your former boss. And by the way, I just have to say, I'm not sure if the platform have said that.
By miss, he was misled.
Allow me to ask a question, please, sir, if you don't mind. I'm not sure if the platform have said it, because these are grave allegations against Musa Dane, and so hopefully, if he's listening, hopefully the invitation just extended to him to come on and give his side of the story. These are your allegations. It's alleged.
They are not new.
We want to be clear that you don't speak on behalf of the platform, but you're using words like fair, being treated fairly, and that your boss allegedly, I want to use the word allegedly, and I don't take that lightly, use his connection with top U.S. officials to get you in.
I called the president and said, Michael McCarthy, Ambassador Michael McCarthy. They not miss my word.
We all know who the foreign ambassador is, counselor. And so you're using all of those things, right? But a lot of people watching you right now, and this is not based on partisanship. This is based on decency and what's right. It's based on morality, and it's also based on legality. You are a smart legal expert, right? And I don't take none of that from you, right? It's based on fairness. It's based on faith. All of these nice words that you're using, but many people will describe what I think was a scam persecution and a character assassination of a great man, right? In Alice Cummings, right? Knowing that there was absolutely no legal case against him. You talk about a crime. We still don't know what those crimes were. Alteration of documentations. These people think this was a political witch hunt to assassinate the character of a man for political reason. You led those charges. And so when you talk about fairness, when you talk about the way you were treated, these are all great messages. But I want you to reflect. Have a self-reflection and answer
No,
this question. Do you think
I
that
don't.
you are, let me finish the question, please, sir. Do you think that you are the right messenger to talk about fairness, to talk about being mistreated, to talk about misconception, right? Misconception. When you talk about the Magnitsky Act and the fact that you were sanctioned and the allegations you're making right now, do you think that you are the right messenger to talk about fairness when you led a scam persecution against a great man? Do you think that you are the messenger to talk about these things?
Are you done? Are you
I'm done.
done?
Yes, sir. I'm
When
done.
I was at the University of Liberia, I used to sound like the way you sounded just now. Then I was not a lawyer. So the issue of morality was always in place. Do you think, those were the questions we were asking. All crimes are committed against the state. So I was not the one, it was the state. The state prosecute. I want you to understand this today. The object and purpose of Liberian law is that crimes are committed against the state. And I was simply an agent of the state. If this was the basis of the closing argument, I would just send you my exposition I've written on this matter. But I didn't know it would put on the issue of fairness. I was simply making this was just a statement in passing. I was just telling you. All crimes are committed against the state, and an agent in one of the Supreme Court opinion, the agent who prosecute that crime is absolved from any criminal liability because or any accusation because he's acting for on behalf of the state. So it was not Serena Sifos, it was the state. That's how our laws are structured. Now you want me to go into my my legal dictionary now. You're getting me, a bit exasperated. So I will have to tell you how the law in this country works. Okay? It's not what you think. Do you think? Do you think? No. When I was in school, we used to say, do you think? Do you think? When I got out of school, when I started to practice law, even for example, me tell you, for example, there's a case that might come up. And as bad as the case is, there will be a lawyer. So the lawyer will be acting not on the basis of public perception of do you think fairness here and there. When it comes to morality, law, legality and morality are not the same. Something may be morally right or morally wrong, but it's legally right. Quote me. For example, on two Fridays ago, I gave you an example. 2 Fridays ago, right before the University of Liberia, in broad daylight by 1:45 p.m., we saw the man killing another man, chopping into pieces. We saw that. What did we do? We called the police. But if that man who did that act was caught and taken to court, obviously anybody around there should say there should be no lawyer to represent him because he committed a heinous crime. But the law provides for that. Whoever will be prosecuting will be acting for on behalf of the state. So I acted for and on behalf of the republic. And it was not me as a person. Today, if I had an opportunity, you see me maybe trying to come for anything, you say, oh, Serenity, what you think it was right? No, I was acting for on behalf of the state. And the government for whom I work never had problem with that. The Republic of Liberia has never brought on an issue. There has never been a disclaimer from the Republic of Liberia. Other issue by the president, the sovereign president, an embodiment of our law, the enforcement of our law. So what's the issue? What is the question about fairness? The fairness should be determined on the basis of the trial. Was there a fair trial? Was he given an opportunity to challenge some of these things? Yes, it was. Do I have any regret? Of course, I have any regret because, as in your word, a great man like that was accused. was similar allegation. Nobody is above the law. You know it. You know that. We don't have on our law, we don't have big men, small men, especially when it comes to the enforcement of the law. And I stand by that.
Thank
I
you.
did nothing wrong.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this. And I know that you work on behalf of the state. And the reason why the reason why the state hire competent lawyers like yourself and sound individuals are because they respect your opinion when cases are presented to you. I'm not a lawyer, and then I won't pretend to be a lawyer. But what I do understand is not every case that is brought to your office is prosecuted. The reason why cases are brought to your office, and I stand corrected, is for you to peruse and analyze the evidences being presented to you, and for you to make a sound legal decision whether or not it is in the interest of the state to waste taxpayer money in prosecuting those cases. And again, you can say, well, this was not Serena Cephas, this is not me on behalf of the state, but it was your office decision based on the evidences provided to move forward with a prosecution of that case. And many other lawyers who are as smart as you are will conclude, based on the evidences that we saw in the court of public opinion, there were absolutely no case. This was, in many opinions, was a political witch hunt against a man who his opponent wanted his character tainted because he was perceived as a clean-haired man. And so when I ask you, do you think I'm not asking you to give a male opinion on this matter. I'm asking you in retrospect, based on the evidences and how this case ended and the situation you yourself find yourself in right now. We are talking about a legal case. Why are you not in court clearing your name? You're not in court clearing
Okay,
your
so
name.
So
You've been
the object of your purpose, the object and purpose of your question to me is that I'm unsanctioned because I put comments on trial. Is that what you mean?
No. That is not what I'm saying. Absolutely not.
Yeah. Now let me dissect your question in parts. When you use the word legal sign, is relative. It's relative. One group will say this is a legal sound decision. Other group will say this is not sound. And that's why in the law opinion, there will always be divided opinions. We don't have what we see about the extreme inflamed, agitation we see maybe at the University Library. When somebody talking, you can see the emotions. In the law, it's not that way. You understand?
Okay, so I'll
The
let the
word
other
legal
guys come
sign
in.
is relative.
I will let the other guys come in, but I
It's
will close.
relative.
I
Now,
will
the
close
way
on
you
this.
presented the question,
So
I can think.
come in,
I
right?
can think. I used to be a defense
I'm not-
counsel in Liberia. Now I'm abroad. I used to be a prosecutor. When you say, do you think the situation you find yourself in now, in effect, what you're saying, because you put comments on trial, this is why you find yourself in this situation. Obviously, that's how anybody would. That's the general conclusion anybody will come up to. I don't hold that against you. If this was the basis of the closing argument, I would just send you an email of what I wrote after the trial. And I don't think it should take much of our time because I said what I wanted to say.
Okay.
All right.
So let me
Yeah,
close.
let's look at other issues.
So can I come in now?
Let me
Let's
close
go
on
to
this note.
that, yeah.
One second. Let me close on this note. I just want to be clear.
Yeah,
I
Robert.
speak as a panelist, not on behalf of the closing argument, right? But the only question I was asking you when I asked that, you were making a very grave allegation against Mossadegh, and he's not here to defend himself. And so the question I was asking you about the message of fairness, I guess you assume, has a lot to do with decisions made legally on cases brought against certain individuals. And I will stand
Your
on
line
this.
is scrappy.
I will stand on this note. The evidences presented to you, from my perspective, were not enough to proceed with that prosecution, but you did anyway. So I'm not sure what your current situation is, but I don't think you're the right messenger for fairness.
October, go ahead, then. Tomalin, go ahead.
Thank you. Councillor Cephas, let me say good evening to you, the both of us in Liberia, so it's easy to say. How are you? I want to come in from two different perspectives, but before that, I like to make an opening statement to say the situation with Mr. Cummins that Robert talked about
came out of a confusion within the CPP and the role that Councillor Cephas played as a prosecutor when issues put on crimes, on criminality and stuff. He was just rightly seated in a position to be a prosecutor. It's not partly being a part or prosecuting somebody, as you know, you might want to term it. I think he was just seated in probably a space that he had a job to do. Many of us, even in the media today, are confronted with same situation like Councillor Cephas is confronted with today. I take, for example, you have a position that is very contentious in Liberia called police spokesman. Many of us have heard about the police spokesman. Every regime that comes to power opts to changing the police spokesman. And one specific reason for that is because people lack the understanding of the role of the police spokesman and make it appear like the person who serves as police spokesman in the country is a public relations officer for the government of the day. It happened to Moses Carter. It happened to the person before Moses Carter. It might happen to the lady now in similar space. And this is completely unfortunate for me. I mean, people sit in these spaces and it's their job at the point in time. If something were to happen and the police were to tell that person this issue, go and announce to the public that it's supposed to be black, it's that person's job to go announce it as black. But unfortunately, immediately the Unity Party came to power, the first person they ran after was Moses Carter to remove him from the job. And it's going to happen to the next person, to the next person, to the next person, because people have not understood over time that the space that person sits in, their specific job is to ensure that the messages from the police, you know, are propagated directly to the public by that individual. It's the same space of being a prosecutor. I think it was Ben Ure, for example, that told Mr. Comey to court, if we have issue, we should be taking up our issue with Mr. Ure, for example. He brought all of these things about. You know, but you see, sometimes when you sit in some spaces, this is how it is. But there are two specific issues I want to ask Councillor Cephas tonight. One, it got to do with this whole compassionate leave that I'm hearing about. You know, about former Chief Justice Gloria Mususka. It's troubling. You know, I'm very concerned. Madam Ska played a major role for the Unity Party. In fact, she was the key lawyer for the Unity Party in the entire CPP fracas and all through the process. She was a senator once for the Unity Party on Capitol Hill. And I see the Unity Party doing everything in its power to get Councillor Gloria Mususka out. And this is the beginning of what is expected to happen. It's my understanding that even the court has already granted the compassionate leave and they're just waiting for time to get her out. They're not telling the public how long she will be out for, what it will be like. And it's my understanding she's getting out because there was an alleged burglary of her home and she's going to do inventory of her home. I don't know what's Councillor Cephas' take on that. And then I also, I wanted to wrap my two issues into it one time. And I also wanted to ask the question about the budget of the court, of the judiciary. The Chief Justice has been raising some concern that the entire country's budget, around 2.8% of that budget, is what the judiciary is expected to use. And she thinks that is too minimal for the judiciary to be able to perform. What is his take also on that? Those are my two issues. Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. First, I appreciate. I was not exasperated with what Robert was saying, but I was simply trying to set the record straight. You know, Section 10.6b of the Criminal Procedure Law of the Republic of Liberia gives every Liberian citizen the right to go to the magistrate court, the justice of the people, and complain. And when that Liberian citizen complains under Section 10.6b, the magistrate issues the writ before the writ comes to the prosecution. The prosecution don't go about doing that. And the issue Robert referring to was Theodore Mumo from Mr. Ure's party, who went and complained on an oath that there was a forgery committed by Mr. Cummings, not me. The issue came in before my desk because, given the quality of the persons involved and the issue, the criticality of the issue, it needed the most qualified and certified prosecutor to handle the matter and look into the matter. So the crime, a Liberian citizen went before the magistrate for consisting with Section 10.6b and complained on an oath. I have nothing to do. That's how it's happening in our court system. That's how people entered our court system. Even 2 days ago, I just won an argument in the court on the same Section 10.6b. Now, let me say what you said on the issue of the compassionate leave. I think the emphasis should be not on the release, but the procedure. For example, Title 2, Liberian Code of Law Revised, which is the Criminal Procedure Law, Chapter 34.20, says that the Minister of Justice shall what? Formulate rule or regulation which shall govern compassionate leave, and in accordance with the rules and procedure may grant a compassionate leave to a person from an institution. You can read it. You can go to Title 2, Liberian Code of Law Revised. So did the Minister of Justice act consistent with law? Yes. But the emphasis should be on what are the rules and regulations that have been formulated. Let's see those rules and regulations. I think that's where the emphasis should be, in my honest opinion. Yeah, the emphasis should be what are the rules and regulations that have been formulated by the Minister of Justice. Because they say the president can be released to themselves, they can be allowed to go all by themselves or in the custody of a police officer. So let's see those rules. Now, those rules you can just formulate them right away. You release them, you formulate them and promulgate them so that people see, so that you use those same rules and regulations to grant compassionate leave to other people. That was 34.20 of the Criminal Procedure Law says. Chapter 34 deal with imprisonment. So yes, they are consistent with law, but we need to see the rules and regulations that have been formulated. On the issue of the judiciary budget, I don't work for the judiciary. I don't speak for the judiciary. I don't know how the judiciary, budget is wrong. I don't know what was provided the judiciary. So I have no comment absolutely when it comes to the judiciary. But what I've been hearing, and many a time and too often at programs of the judiciary, is that there is inadequate budgetary support to the judiciary. I have not seen the specs as to what constitutes inadequate budgetary support. I don't know. So, my brother, I don't know how long I can speak to it.
Just a quick follow-up, Dr. Peabody. Just a quick. Councillor Cephas is also, a journalist, always one, but your old media pressing as well, that I know. So, my issue about the compassionate leave thing stems from some information I got. I don't know, you've been practicing for a very long time in the media, whether you have any information about that. But I got some information.
Yeah, she was released today. According to Stanton Peabody, she was released today.
No, there's no Stanton Peabody. Are you talking about Stanton Witherspoon?
Okay, stand up or Witherspoon rather. Sorry, today according to Spoon Talk. Yeah, sorry.
But
I heard it.
What I was trying to talk about is I don't know whether that is a reality or whether it ever happened or it's just a myth or something. But it's my understanding that when President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, at the time she was imprisoned, there were similar circumstances, by which she got out of prison. And when she got out of prison, under the context that she would have gone to, I think, her son's wedding or so. And that was how President Sirleaf disappeared from the Samuel Kanyando's regime. I don't know whether you have any information. So that is also predicated for my question.
That compassionate leave is provided for under our law. Sometimes to attend your mom's funeral or the brother's funeral or someone's funeral is allowed. But it is purely within the purview of the Minister of Justice and Attorney General. I think similar thing happened during the administration of Madam Sirleaf with Ronnie C, who was in jail. And I think the Attorney General then was trying to release Ronnie C, compassionately. And very into problem. I was looking for the opinion to see what was the issue. Because I didn't see it. It was written that I can recall that I was still practicing. I was actively practicing before the Supreme Court. So I know. But the chapter I cited and the provision is there. You need to decode it. It's the Minister of Justice shall. It didn't say may, but when it comes to granting the power, it say may. You know, so on the basis of the formulation of the rules and regulation, it's mandatory. On the basis of the release of granting the compassionate leave is discretionary. The law makes it mandatory for the Minister of Justice to formulate the rules and regulation, but make it discretionary to grant the compassionate leave. Now, hear my take on the whole issue, and I think there where the controversy is coming from. In the case Republic of Liberia versus Brani Samuka, there's one aspect of the case that went to the Supreme Court, and the argument was that the argument was intended to stop Mr. Samuka from running. The Supreme Court said a judgment in the lower court, because we were relying upon the 1924 opinion of the Supreme Court, in which it said when the judgment is hard and then when the case gets to the Supreme Court, the argument starts at the conviction. But the bench said no. The bench said when the judgment in the lower court is hard and the president announces an appeal, it stays the judgment. So in that case, when the matter goes to the Supreme Court, it starts all over. So I think even why the matter, and this is my opinion, why the matter was pending at the Supreme Court, given that Samuka opinion, the Ministry of Justice can even grant a null prosequi because the Supreme Court has already ruled that when the judgment is or a conviction is hard in the lower court and there's an appeal, that appeal stays the entire proceeding. That appeal serves as a supersedious. So then when the matter gets to the Supreme Court, they start anew. So the Ministry of Justice would not have even been in error if they have, for example, entered a null prosequi in the matter and called for a further investigation under the arrangement using the Samuka opinion.
All right, Councilor Cephas. We've joined by Professor Larry Kennedy and St. Tomalin George. Since they haven't spoken, I will go to Professor Kennedy, Tomalin, and then we'll come back to Julius.
All right, thank you so much, Doc. Hey, Councilor Cephas, how you doing there?
Great.
I want to draw your attention to asset recovery. I remember when the ARAT team was formed, you, Arthur Johnson, Lafayette Gould, you guys were making some significant progress in asset recovery. Considering how much money Nigeria has received in asset recovery over the years, I think in 2023, Nigeria managed to pull back 1.2 billion that was stolen during the Sani Abacha time. And I think they even pulled around 320 something million from the island nation of Jersey, or around 700 or so, but they've been doing a lot of work. Do you think the current asset recovery team is making the same kind of headway or the structure in the same way that would be able to bring some money back to Liberia? Because you know the government is struggling financially and they can use every little bit of money they can get their hands on. What is your take on the current asset recovery team and what could be done about it?
Thank you. I think since 1847, this is the very first time where a new administration is capping directly a policy agenda that has been developed by other administration. Asset recovery is a new phenomenon in the Liberian political scene. I brought it to Liberia. And how did I do that? When I became member of the Association of International Prosecutors, there's a program under it that is funded by the United Nations called Asset Recovery. And I read about it substantively and felt that there was a need to aid the government in that direction. Asset recovery is a diamond mine. I think this government can even depend on asset recovery for the next budgetary year to raise the necessary funding that they need. As you may know, when we organize asset recovery has several components. Most times you just see asset recovery. There is asset investigation. There is asset tracing and identification. There is asset prosecution, then before recovery. Recovery is the last phase of it. So the asset tracing and investigation have to be outsourced. You need international professional individual and institutions to head it. Then the government can help you. The aspect that has to do with prosecution, you also need to outsource that. You can have a global lead counsel. But for the recovery process, because of national interest, national security interest, you, a Liberian citizen, supposed to preside over it. Now, me drill you through how it was done. We brought Grant Thornton, which is the leader in the world when it comes to asset recovery. Grant Thornton was hired. We then brought Dwayne Murray LLP from New York, Manhattan. Mario Wolf was to be the global lead counsel. Now, when we did that, they led us to what they call financial litigators. The financial litigators decided they offered to support the asset recovery by giving 35 million. They said, once we get an agreement signed, we'll get asset recovery $35 million. Then we find the litigators, the financial litigator came and said, look, do the calibration of the entire asset and tell what is the amount. When they did it, when Grant Thornton and other people attested that are specialized in forensic criminal investigation on assets, did the analysis, the whole thing came out to $8 billion. We were afraid. So we said, let's make it to 4.6 billion because Liberian people will be too afraid. And that exercise covered from 1950 to 1990 of money stolen from the Republic of Liberia. So the financial litigators were prepared to say, look, we'll give the government of Liberia 1 billion upfront, give all the French child, let go on the field to fight. Whatever we get, whether we lose, at least we will get something. People were afraid. Again, the same problem with Musadin and others, they killed it. So Grant Thornton were here for 6 months, working and compiling and doing asset tracing, asset identification. Now, Mario Wolf from Dwayne Murray LLP in New York, downtown Manhattan, where they have about 850 lawyers in the law firm, was served as our what? Global lead counsel on asset recovery. And Lauren, we even managed to reach out to you and other people. And we got indication from the FBI. They were even trying to help with information regarding funds that were stolen in 1950 in some banks that are no longer in existence. For example, Chemical Bank in New York, the how they call it, Cayman Island issue. Some people were talking to us. There was about 200 million stolen that we needed to follow. But beyond that, Larry, on my own as Solicitor General, I was informed by the NCA in London that some Liberian had taken $8 million that was stolen in 1970, and they said they were carrying it for charity. And I challenged that. I went to court in Monrovia. I got a judgment, and that judgment will put out a apostille on it and send it to London. All our ambassador needed to do was just to make a representation to have the money. The contention the people had was that they didn't want to give the 8 million because some people wanted to put it in the national budget. So they said the duplicate road aspect that is connected to RI was my suggestion that they should bring the money and they find a contractor to build that road. Asset recovery, people in asset recovery should not be asking for budgetary support, because if you are robust and you have a special independent counsel, as we are in the presence of Mr. Johnson, a very far-sighted and forthright individual who was highly competent and was on top of the game, you get all the money you want. We just domestically before we left, we were able to, before Mr. Johnson resigned, we were able to collect 685,000 United States dollars, where people were coming, just paying. Look, I took the money, I'm afraid, before they put on to me, let me pay, don't call money here and they give you receipt here and then. That money was paid to a special account at the CBL, and that was managed by Mr. Samora Wolukoli and Samuel Toy. So asset recovery is a huge diamond mine that the government can tap in. First, I applaud the idea that the new government has copied my idea that I brought to Liberia. That is laudable. You understand? The only thing they need to do is to get the expertise to help the team, because one person can be for prosecution, asset tracing here and there, and for example, going after immediate past government officials is a waste of time. There are so many monies that are stolen between 1950s and 1990s that are stuck, and most of the people that own the money are not living. So it should be a battle between the asset recovery team and the banks.
Yeah, let me, in the interest of time, Councillor, let me just hold you there. And what Councillor is saying is true, because he did reach out to me, and the lead attorney he's speaking about, Mara Wolf, he's a former former U.S. Attorney for the U.S. Department of Justice. Right, he prosecutes white collar crime. He's a partner in one of the largest law firms in the U.S. And in fact, he did put out that information that Liberia can, in fact, recover up to about, I think it was upward of like 8 billion or so. But that was a huge opportunity. And this is something that countries like Nigeria and other countries have chased. They've actually followed it. And they actually managed to recover hundreds of millions. So by the interest of time, not to take up too much time, just to kind of keep it kind of short, wanted to ask you, do you still believe that this administration might be interested in pursuing asset recovery, considering, like you just mentioned, it can help to sustain, it can help to keep the budget afloat, right? So you think this administration has an opportunity to
yes, they need to redefine the focus and the objective of the asset recovery team to make it more expansive and inclusive and workable. Because if you make it more expansive and outsource asset tracing, asset investigation, and retain prosecution or retain only recovery will be better. Because for asset prosecution, you need a global lead counsel. You need someone who is certified and can appear before any court. The law thing we're talking about, there are too many things involving it. For example, if you take somebody from Monrovia, you just take them maybe to Europe. You just gotta say, I'm a lawyer from Liberia. People don't believe you, say lawyer from Liberia. So we hired Mary Wolf. Mary Wolf was supposed to be our global lead counsel, because when he started to talk, and then who was below Mary Wolf? I was there. For example, we get to Euro Amun. Arthur was there. He was just admitted as member of the International Association of Prosecutor, and also under Rule 42. He's now a candidate for Rule 43 and to the ICC. So, because when you talk about your credential, people will say yes. Well, you can say, oh man, they meant to go after the people government, they're taking government car. Those are petty things. I think it needs to be expansive. I applaud the idea. I do not question the credibility and the qualifications of the team, but I think the team needs to be a bit more broad-minded. The objective should be broad-minded, not the way it is now.
Okay.
In that way,
it
addresses all of the issues. Yeah.
Yeah, let me turn it back over to Doc Peabody.
Lofa, go ahead. Lofa, turn.
Thank you, Doc Peabody. Councilor C first. I want to just elaborate a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to deviate from that. Let me speak to something you mentioned earlier. You spoke of, the idea of asset recovery being something that you came up with, okay? And now it is being used. It was attempted in the previous government, but Councilor Musadin stepped on it. You also spoke of the sanction issue, and you included the allegedly Musadin being a part of this. I want to know, based on these claims, what do you possibly think could be the reason why this individual in Musadin is vigorously going at you for whatever reason? Because the issue of asset recovery would have benefited Liberia, right? But he thought to come at you and stopped it. Was it going at you personally, or he was simply just looking in the interest of Liberia, and then with the issue of sanction? What do you think is really going on here? What can you assume may be happening?
Thank you. Let me respond like this. At a material time during the asset recovery exercise, Councillor Johnson had gathered sufficient evidence and prepared an indictment was on the verge of arresting the Attorney General of the Republic. The Solicitor General was troubled that a special independent counsel was on the verge of arresting the Minister of Justice and Attorney General. And when the Minister of Justice realized that, he ran to President Weah, because President Weah, me tell you, most people don't know, President Weah opted to appear before me as Solicitor General so that I could quiz him on the management of funds when he was peace ambassador. So he ran to President Weah in the office of President Weah and said Arthur was on the verge of arresting him. And we fought. He supported them around there. We fought. We did everything we could when we left. And then they created a scenario of creating a stone wall. We couldn't get to the president. So initially we had unimpeded access. And then he started building blocks. He went through his aides, and they prevented us. And that's how Arthur resigned. If you call Mr. Johnson, he will tell you of the investigation conducted by Grant Thornton. They get the detail. They know exactly what they said. They could not even work with him because of the compelling evidence they have. It's an open secret in Liberia that Mr. Johnson was on the verge, special independent counsel hired by the Solicitor General, and independent of the Solicitor General's office, was on the verge of arresting the Minister of Justice and Attorney General.
Well,
on the basis of,
I'm sorry, Councillor Cephas. When you say the Minister of Justice, you speaking of
Musa Dean.
Okay, so you guys were on the verge of arresting him, just for clarity. Okay, go ahead.
Because he wrote him a letter seeking clarification on a number of issues, and his failure obviously would have. And I got so afraid because I think in that way the special independent counsel, I said, Mr. Special Independent Counsel, yes, even the Solicitor, you can question the Solicitor General, but on this one, let all find a way, because we had the authority. Because I think that position of Solicitor General should be solely independent, should be a professional, should not be a politician. The position of Minister of Justice and Attorney General is a political appointment. Anybody can be Minister of Justice. But Solicitor General, that's how the crisis started between Mr. Dean and myself. So Mr. Dean then fought to destroy asset recovery. Yeah. The evidence is there. You can call Mr. Johnson anytime and ask him. He was ready. And because of that, Mr. Johnson wrote a letter and said he was resigning because the government had lacked the political will to fight corruption.
Thank you. I want to close on this. My second question: did you follow the recent case regarding Precious, the young lady? I hope I'm getting the name right. The young lady who was almost murdered by the Caucasian. Did you follow that case by any means?
Yes.
Now, the result of that case, the alleged perpetrator was allowed. I guess he was vindicated and allowed to leave Liberia. What is your view on the entire proceeding from a legal standpoint? What did you notice happen? What is your assessment and view on the entire process?
Every lawyer, unless in Liberia, but every lawyer should be trained to respect the opinion of the court. And the court is an impartial referee sitting and listening to argument on both sides. If you put out disjointed, incoherent argument before the court, when it comes to analyzing the argument, the court will give you exactly what you put in. So I follow in fact, I raised an issue with the way the ruling went, but when I look at the proceeding, then I realized that the court acted properly. So I do have a personal opinion, but my opinion is not a law. The judge acted based on the quantum of evidence presented, and his ruling was consistent with law.
Do you mind sharing your personal opinion with us?
Well, my personal opinion would be that the prosecution was not up to the task. For example, if I was in that capacity as prosecutor of the Republic, when I noticed that there were some some prior irregularities and other things, I will enter a nolle prosequat with the right to bring charges against the defendant. And the state would have done that. But the matter was left in the hand exclusively of a young Anthony, who, in my opinion, did his best. But in terms of trial of that nature, a case of that nature was not at his best on that during that process. He needed a qualified. So I think, by and large, the state should take the blame, but the court acted properly, consistent with law, as I indicated to you. That if you went to the court, you present an inconsistent argument, incoherent, and to a large extent, when your argument contained a sundry of variances, the court will not grant you what you want. So the court acted based on what was presented to it.
Thank you.
Councillor Cephas, let me come in. Let me ask you this question. I just want you to chime in when it comes to the most recent case we had at LTA about those 10 new positions. You know, you being a lawyer, you know about it. I want you to chime in about it.
In 2016, I wrote a piece when Madame Seli was praising herself for tenure position. I indicated then as now that was a recipe for crisis, because granting a tenure to almost everybody was in contravention of Article 56 of the 1986 Constitution that grants pleasure power to the president. Part of the pleasure power the president enjoys under the Liberian Constitution is that he is the chief administrator of the state, consisting with Article 50, under which he has three powers. One, he is head of state, head of government, and commander-in-chief. As head of government, he is the chief administrator in the executive. He should be given a free hand to do what he feels. And that's why the pleasure power of Article 56 was granted. Now, for them to have granted, statutory powers with the issue of tenure to a number of other positions, not specifically key ones, to me, I think was unethical. So, was the president right? In my opinion, my fear is that if this is not corrected, what happens tomorrow, Mr. Rabot, if you become president of the Republic of Liberia, and before my tenure expires as president, I appoint all the cabinet ministers and grant their tenure. So who are you supposed to be working with now? You're just supposed to be sitting down there. So I think that tenure thing should be restricted to only a few, for example, election commission, and maybe CSA. And that's why when my sister, my own sister, blood sister, was affected at the GC, I didn't go to court. I didn't go to because I said, going to the Supreme Court, I said, look, the Supreme Court have only 3 powers under Article 2. Now, if you file a petition before the Supreme Court under the petition of judicial review, maybe on a rate of a remedial rate, for example, prohibition or any other thing, the Supreme Court has only 3 powers under Article 2. And those 3 powers are the review power, the interpretative power, and the declaratory power. So my argument to my sister is, I say, let's say, for example, the Supreme Court declares your removal as unconstitutional. We're going to enforce the judgment to put you in place. And if the president, who you're supposed to work with, says he doesn't want to work with you. So I said, it didn't worth it for me to go to the Supreme Court to argue.
Okay, too many comments. I don't want to go to my second question. We got too many men struggling with internet from Liberia. So let me give too many a chance.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Councillor Cephas. Let me just go quickly because I don't have much time. The storm is heavy here. But Councillor Cephas, people are asking me. They say that I should ask you: are you saying that had you been given the opportunity to complete the asset recovery mission, you would have ensured that we, our government, received $8 million? Are you sure if you have been given the opportunity to me
if
at that
if
position.
yeah, if the president
And
had the
give him all
political
the
will,
flexibility, all the tools under
yeah, if the president had developed and maintained the political will to fight corruption at that level, for example, the financial litigators that were trying to offer $1 billion to take the franchise and fight, the Liberian government would have gotten $1 billion. The asset recovery team would have gotten $35 million to fight. We brought Mario Wolf to Liberia. He flew in to Liberia and he came with people who were working with the FBI, even that wanted to help. Some people from the FBI came, they met with the president and said, look, there is the diamond mine for the Republic of Liberia. We identified financial litigators who were now willing to say, look, we'll buy the franchise. Maybe we could back in with them and say, look, give her 1.5 billion and take the 4.5 billion. We were afraid to say 4.6. So take the rest of it and fight for 1950 here and there. They were the ones going to be opening, maybe that 8 million that are arrested, that was frozen in London. Maybe we are going to be part of it. That day, we should be sitting down and talking about repatriating monies stolen from the Republic of Liberia by people, some of whom are died. But the evidence is still there. You understand? Yes, we would have recovered more. Maybe it would have saved the government. Because if Liberian people say, oh, but the government has done that. If we get $1 billion, if this government get $1 billion, for example, they will build the roads that they want to build. Mario Wolf is still standing by. Grant Thornton is still standing by. At that state that are specialized in forensic criminal investigation is still standing by. The idea is good, but it should not be politicized. You just put this civil man, let's go find you are having car. First of all, I don't like government car. So yes.
Wow, that's a lot of breaking news. That's breaking news. My last question: was there any case? Because there were a lot of times you and your boss, Councilor Dean, you were local heads. Were there any case you think that affected your job, that undermined your job as Solicitor General of the Republic of Liberia? That if you have been given the latitude to operate freely and not be on your boss wasn't involved, you think you would have what any case you can remember that affected your job, that you felt you were undermined by your boss?
Fear is the enemy of success. And I pity him. He was just afraid, unduly afraid. He taught us in law school. And I was surprised that somebody I wanted to work with would treat me the way he treated me. At a certain point in time, ask anybody in the Ministry of Justice, I was not getting a dime for prosecution. Many a time the prosecutors strike. They will stage a strike. They say they're not going to court. I was not supported. But Mr. Dean was whining and dining. I didn't know. Many a time and too often we had nothing in the prosecution department. I still went to court. I think if he put now, maybe for some reason, if he does a sober reflection of where we came from, how we came, where we came from, I think he will register in how to say, yes, I think I was wrong. I was not after his job. I was simply workaholic. I was a workaholic person. For example, he tried to use, picking, then they will honor me to try to honor mine. But few of them I said work together for many years, like Bobby and other people who work together. I respect them, they respect me, and I like them. Another person who I also like in the Ministry of Justice, my friend Adolphus Kanuan and Jerry Galawolo, who is now the Assistant Minister for Litigation, and even the current Solicitor General. Even while I was out, we were still friends and we're working together. And that's why I'm going to attend his takeover ceremony tomorrow. I'm going to go there to see him. I tell you, that job is a difficult job because when the prosecution loses a case, they blame the Solicitor General. You can't sleep. And I was not getting a dime with the Ministry of Justice. When the budget comes, Musa Dean does whatever he wanted to do. Look, my brother, in life, you only have one life to live. You own 50 buildings. You only sleep in one room. You have to learn to reach out to your friends. He was very wicked to me, but that's life. I just forgave him. Nothing I can do about that. One day, Liberian people will know the real story, and my time will come. Trust me, my time will come. We're close to it.
Robert,
Peabody, my last question, Val.
Okay, go
My
ahead.
last question quickly. Councilor Cephas, the $100 million drug case, you prosecuted that case?
No. It was a sad moment in our country. Let me give you the history of that drug case. President, we are left to go attend a, how they call it, football match in Qatar. The period that the president stayed out of the country was that same period that the container that in which the drugs were found were imported into the country. The container, according to the indictment, count 23 of the container of the indictment prepared by the Ministry of Justice says that Bilal Ibrahim and Abijadi, how they call them, imported the container that in which the $100 million drugs were found. It's in the indictment. The bill of lading is in the indictment, count 23 of the indictment. But who did they carry to court? They carry the people they claim that the people own the container. They claim the people that own the container want to go buy the very container that they imported into the country. My brother, I mean, you should be a fool to accept that. You go abroad and borrow your own container. When it comes to Liberia, then you go buy again. Then you go buy the same container that you imported into Liberia. So they couldn't even make out the story. They leveled the real drug barons of the hook. Those guys they were using, they were just punks. They were trying to use them to as a facade to mislead public opinion. How could you have convicted those people when they built a lady? It's in TRH, and the owner of TRH was never invited. In fact, in the police report, go and ask for the police report. The police report, go and ask for the police report. The police report indicated that they were prevented from going certain places to conduct the investigation, and they named those places, including warehouses owned by Abijadi. Go see it. TRH. So you leave that, you just carry a report to court. Read their own indictment in the case file. Ask for the indictment. The indictment named the importer of the drug. And you left them how you go. You go put the other people. So you see the people that they want imported the drug, but they go buy with 200,000. Because this is a full paradise. And when you're there, you know everything. The rest of us are just supposed to be a follower. So the people got free. But even more than that, on the day of the arrest of those people, the keeping behind the whole thing was on the scene. Gustavo, they claim, according to them, Gustavo went to RIA and bought ticket and fled. Go to RIA, which area in RIA you can buy ticket to flee Liberia. So that whole thing was masterminded by them. You understand? The drug case. While the people were in jail, the people arrested another container with $40 million worth of drug. So, assuming they were the one who brought the drug, how the other drug came into the country? Look, this drug thing, we need to fight it. The president needs to look into the drug, enforcement agency and talk to the young guys that there. For example, A.B. Krumah, our classmate from 1982, a great friend of ours. They are hardworking. Sometimes they need to cool down their temper and concentrate on the real fight. Forget about who is in charge and who is this. So that case, I was never connected with. It was that case that after the court ruled and acquitted the people, in which Musa Din claimed accused the judiciary of being compromised. He accused the judiciary of being compromised. Based on I said it from the onset that if you present an incongruent argument or facts and pieces of evidence that are not material to the case, the court will throw your case out. That's what the court did. Most time people want to use the court to help them to free people, but another court can free people. It's the way the evidence you present to court that will make the court to free you. Yeah. Sometimes you say, oh, politically motivated. When I was in private practice, and many a time, look, if you check the new version of the Liberian law report, my name will dominate in everything. Wherever I disagree, I went to Supreme Court. When I disagree with the censor report in 2000, I went to Supreme Court. When I disagree with Article 52C interpretation, I went to the Supreme Court. When I disagree with the Election Commission on the question of whether or not who should determine the new date of election in the face of force majeure, I went to the Supreme Court. Those are constitutional issues. If we go to the ICC, you ask for my file, they have written in the file that I significantly contributed to the development of constitutional law in Liberia. It's one of the requirements. You see? So most time it's what you put in. But most time, our people are too emotional. They don't listen to other people's side. They always form an opinion on issues. So that drug case clearly demonstrated the complete lack of focus and direction on the part of the Minister of Justice and Attorney General. And you can't blame the team that was on the field that was prosecuting the case. They did their best. Prosecutor did their best. But the Minister of Justice should have provided direction. That's my take on that.
Wow. See, Tomalin, you have one more, or you good? All right.
I didn't hear you.
He got internet issue. Let's take Robert next, and then we'll go to Toga, and then we will go to the phone lines.
Okay.
So, solicitor for a former solicitor general. I'm laughing because when you stated earlier that Musa Din was wicked to you, Musa Din was wicked to me. It's just kind of funny that you said
wicked to my office.
He was wicked. You will get the office. Okay. It was just funny that you said that. I was laughing, and then you did mention, I think, as well. But listen, let me ask you this question. Obviously, and I want to just clear the air, right? Please don't. It's not personal, right? I'm here to ask the tough questions and to have a respectful dialogue. So I don't want you to think that my initial interaction with you was in any way.
No, Robert, I don't take it. Robert,
yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
I'm an International Defense Council. We don't take offense to the kind of thing that petty thing. No.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Obviously, I've listened to you numerous times. Obviously, you seems to understand your craft, which is being a lawyer. No one will dispute the fact that you are a smart lawyer. But there's so many issues in our country, so many cases that lawyers and people of your caliber have led, and we have a lot of different questions about, and so that was my issue with that. But I really hope that we can get Musa Din on this platform to ask exactly why he acted towards you the way you have explained allegedly, and to just get his side of the story. I believe in fairness, and I believe in honesty, right? And even in my own personal career, I'm always led by my own principles and what I stand for. And so I want to ask you this question. A lot of people have questioned the independence of the judiciary system in our country. I know that you alluded to some of the challenges your office faced, lack of support from the Ministry of Justice, and so forth and so on. I want you, just based off your own experience working in that area, do you think that the judicial system is politically hijacked by the executive branch of government, or do you think that there's some level of independence at that institution? And while you answer that, what do you think is the biggest challenge when it comes to the judiciary branch of government?
Thank you. There is something they call public, confidence crisis. Most of the confidence crises are driven by misconception. For example, if a man commits a murder, or let's assume that there was a firefight in a heavily crowded area between the police and someone, as in the case of Joe Banjo. I think you heard about Joe Banjo in 1975. Yeah, so somebody died, and Joe Banjo was arrested and taken to court. He was convicted in the court below. When the case went to the Supreme Court, the lawyers only argued a point. They said the state did not establish the cause of death because there were so many people who were firing. How did the state arrive at the conclusion that the bullet that killed this person came from Joe Bajo gun. And on that basis, it created a reasonable doubt. He was set free. Morally, he was wrong. Legally, he was right. Now, from the public perspective, they will say, oh, the court is corrupt. They say, oh, because they don't understand. That's how they see it. They say, oh, this is stage. In fact, the man, he finished killing the man, then they went and freed the man. So bulk of the issues, bulk of the confidence crisis the court faces actually is based on misconception on the part of the public. On the other hand, the court itself has been challenging itself to the point of trying to present itself in a more progressive way to be seen as being independent. I think that is a bit difficult because I think the court should continue the path. And what needs to be done, and I said it long ago, is that there has to be some PR activity, or the court has to be able to explain, or people have to be able to explain to the public the role of the court because they don't understand. So most of the allegations against the court are based on misconception. Now, on the question of the executive hijacking, as you indicated, the judiciary, financially, I would say yes, because non-support to the judiciary is like hijacking the rule of law. So on that one, I agree with you. The judiciary has to be supported. For example, let's look at a judge in any of the courts handling a $1 million case, and he is paid, for example, $1,500. What position you put in the court in to be able to effectively and independently, it has to be, because judges are not allowed to engage in any other trade except to be judged, so that they can be in conflict with people. So when you say the issue of hijacking, yes, no support to the judiciary is complete hijacking of the process of the rule of law. I agree with that. On the other hand, we are in difficult times and resources are limited, and we have an economy that is not generating jobs. But if you look at the budgetary allocation for the other two branches of government, the budgetary allocation is very high when compared to the judiciary. Now, if you look at the two other branches of government compared with the judiciary does greater job, spend more time just thinking, analyzing cases, and restoring stability to the Republic of Liberia than the rest of the other two branches of government. So it is the weakest, but it is the pivot upon which democracy is rested. The Liberian judiciary is the weakest, but it has become the pivot upon which democracy and the rule of law and sanity is rested. That's my position on that.
Julia, if you don't mind, 30 seconds. Someone wants to know if you're still a member of the European Bar Association, and are you still traveling, with the exception of the US? Can you still travel to Europe and other parts of the world?
I was in Europe recently. I set up my office in The Hague, and I set up my office in Arusha, because the RRMCT Rule 42, 43 is both in The Hague and in Arusha. So I have an office in Arusha. I have an office in The Hague. Yes.
Thank you.
I'm only prevented from coming to America. But I always said to adults, I'm available. The day they're ready for an investigation. One of the greatest things of our democracy, especially with our court judicial system, is that the accused has nothing to prove. And I've been there many a time, and too often I've been there. I have nothing to prove. You got to bring your evidence. I have nothing to prove. Look, my brother, anybody want to accuse you of anything, just sit down. Say, let's go. You get to court, the judge is sitting down there. You got to struggle, got to prove this. I have nothing to prove. If you say I have several bank accounts around the world, you got to show me the bank account. If you say I engage in money laundering, you have to show me the banks I was dealing with. If you say I mass state asset, you got to show me the asset. The whole thing is political. It's not legal. You understand? I built my house in 2005. when I didn't even conceive the idea of becoming Solicitor General. I'm an agronomist, I'm a soil scientist by training, okay, and journalist. I didn't even know I was going to be a lawyer. And I built my house, I moved inside my house. I've been living in my house. Since then, nothing has changed. So tell your, I don't know, that caller or somebody who were concerned. Maybe, yeah, I will soon be traveling, and then maybe the president can travel with me.
All right, Councilor.
You know, when I go to the Hague, I can be in a hotel called Ramanda Hotel. I love that.
Yeah.
It's a nice
Yeah.
place.
That hotel, you're talking about the hotel that only allow one person in the room, right?
Well, the recent time when I went there, I saw 2 people were allowed.
Okay. So, I want us to kind of take. I want us to take some calls from back home and here. But
Yeah,
I just wanted to while we are taking some calls, while we are getting the phone line ready. There you go. Thank you, Henry. While we're getting ready to take these calls, I wanted to just throw this question in there, and you can start answering. And while we get our way to the phone lines, but the question is, how can you, based on your legal mind, okay, your legal understanding of our society and the current situation with drugs, how do you think you can contribute to the fight against drugs? Would you consider supporting or working with the LDEA if you were opportune to work with the LDEA to fight drugs? Because again, legally, you have the understanding, and secondly, maybe hopefully in your closing statement you can address this. I would like to know the issue of the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court. There was another hearing held today in DC where witnesses were making their case. Do you foresee the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court in Liberia, especially with the recent executive order from the president?
Thank you. When I was speaking on the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court, I said maybe you need to have Mr. Berdia on this platform. He will tell you the rest of the secret, the rest of the story. Let me tell you this. I have a friend called Nathaniel Magee. I think you could know him. When Magee suggested the TJC concept, which is the Transitional Justice Commission concept, he asked me to go to the Liberia legislature and to find the law to defend it, and to defend the TJC. So the Liberian Senate assembled, and they had the venerable professor of law, Fanny Sherman, the rest of the people were there. Everybody was prepared. I told them that I'm coming, get your constitution review. When I went, Senator Chi was then presiding as Senate pro tempore. I presented an argument, a paper defending the TJC, and show every constitutional provision why the whole concept of war crime code was not possible. And everybody, including those who were there, agree and say, yeah, that was the best argument. The long and short of it, when my friend changed his position, I was not in the country. He said, well, there's a need that we need to change our position of the TJC team. Let's go for a war crime code. Go and find the law. I went back and wrote and show all the law that you don't need constitutional amendment. I said the position then was where I was standing. Today, you don't need constitutional amendment. For example, let me tell you, the greatest challenge to the creation of war and economic crime codes in Liberia that the campaigners have been grappling with until they saw the paper that I wrote in 2016 was the issue of jurisdiction. Article 34E of the 1986 Constitution states that the legislature shall not create a court that will be higher than the Supreme Court or equal to the Supreme Court of Liberia. That 34E is a stumbling block. But listen to this. Under Article 57 of the 1986 Constitution, the president is the chief foreign policy architect of the Republic.
His only responsibility under Article 57 is to go out, negotiate, and sign international agreement. He's simply someone who is a signatory. The Constitution does not have the word ratification. What the Constitution has under Article 34F is approve. So the approval power of any treaty is by the legislature. When that is done, when that approval power is done, that it becomes part of the domestic law. Yet the cash phrase that we decide to use in this new argument is an Article 1 argument, Article 1 of the 1986 Constitution. There are 6 direct power and 7 complementary powers. For example, key of those powers were that they should do things, people should do things for the happiness and safety of the people. So the happiness and safety of the Liberian people must be protected, and law should be drafted based on that. So the new argument is pursuant to Article 34B of the 1986 Constitution, which grants unto the legislature the authority to provide for the security of the state. The code, the War and Economic Crime Code, is part of the security regime of the Republic. Then you bring in Article 34, J, and L. So J and L deal with what? The requirement of the regime, the laws, and other things, the punishment, therefore. So the whole idea is pursuant to Article 1. That's the new argument. Article 1, for the happiness and safety of the people. So when the president signed the executive order, the president was acting pursuant to Article 34B, which the legislature, when the legislature passed a joint resolution, they were acting pursuant to Article 34B for the security of the state. Now, I didn't bring the Constitution. Your Constitution is so small that I know it page by page. I didn't bring it. I don't have to bring it. I know it page by page because most of the things that come from my paper that I presented at the International Criminal Court. So the new issue, the contentious issue now is that the jurisdiction of the court will be complementary jurisdiction. Any more questions?
And what is that? What is that? When you say complementary
second part of the
jurisdiction, what are you
question.
talking about?
No, you didn't address the second part of the question as to how people like to contribute to the drugs, the fight against drugs in Liberia. Would you accept?
When I was speaking, I said to support the budget and make everybody happy in this country. Asset recovery is a diamond mine. I think asset recovery is the best place. They drugged near me, I fret because those boys fight drug. Yeah, if they bring the people to me for prosecution, that one I want to know that when they prosecute me, because those guys get gummy and I'm listen. Let's be serious about it. Listen to this. The fight against drugs should be comprehensive. It should involve every Liberian. Every Liberian should be involved with the fight for drugs. Me tell you what is happening in our country that you guys need to follow up and you need to take out this issue. The real guys that are taking the drugs, the real citizens that are taking it, are the true Liberian children.
Yeah, victims.
In the next 20 years or 50 years, it will be difficult for you to find a Liberian who both mother and father are Al Loma or Grable. So what the guys are doing is a war against the growth and development of our country by bringing drugs and giving it to the true Liberian children and give them short lifespan while their own children are safe from the drugs. So this fight, we should take it to the doorsteps of those who are importing the drugs, not those who are using the drugs. Go in the streets of Monrovia, go in the streets of Liberia. You'll find Wia, Do, Kekula, Kiahun, true Liberian, who are the precious jewels of our country, are being drugged. And what do you see? If you find somebody, the president will either be, I'm so Liberian, Nigerian, I'm Liberian, Ivorian, your country is gradually being overtaken. And come what may, 25 years from now, it will be difficult to find people like you. So yes, I would love the fight, but the fight I think it should be in the courtroom.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Henry, let's take some calls from back home, and we will open the phone lines here in the diaspora. Those of you in the diaspora, you have the WhatsApp line. Call us, and you in the United States, you do have the local number as well. So feel free to call. Let us interact with our studio guest, the former Solicitor
Yeah,
General.
so thank you, Lofa. 07770177635 is the number to call, and then you're going to talk to our guest here to know the closing document. 07770177635 is the number to call here, and then you're going to be live to talk with our guest. 777017635 777285961. To the very first caller. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, good evening, and good evening to your guest in studio, Councillor Serena Sifa. In Abraham B. Wister, and I do join you from GSA Road. Let me say thank you, Councillor, for your explanation. And I want to commend you for what you have done for the Liberian people during your time as Solicitor General. Now, my simple question to you is, do you know anyone called Justin Taylor and how everything went on? What is the case involving you and her? What do you went into her? Because I really love you when I listen to you and Arthur Johnson. I really want to be a lawyer, but I'm not passionate in that area.
Okay, thank you.
I only have issue on a particular Justin case issue.
Thank you so kindly. 07770177635 is the number to call here. That's the Labrador number. Then you're going to be live here to talk to our guest tonight on the closing argument. 07770177635. To this caller. Hello.
Yes, hello?
You have to dress away from the radio.
Yes, hello?
Your name from where you join us. 1 minute.
Thank you. My name is Activist James Different Story, and I'm from District Number 4 of the Peabody, the Shoe Cycle Community. Let me say thanks to lenders, counselors, arena people. You know, whenever I listen to counselors, arena people, along with, in a better my appetite to study law increase. And let me appreciate him for his brilliant analysis. But my question is, as it relates to the pardon that is relating to the former Justice Minister in presence of Gloria Moses Scott on the basis that she was free from the central for replacing the bull and terrorism, testing of the law. I want to know if whether it is legal. If it is legal, why only now extension is given to us?
Okay, thank you. Well, just that. 777017635 07770177635. To this caller. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
How are you? Your name from where you join us?
Thank you. My name is Hussein Kew, calling from around Jacob in District 2. I want to get your still guest this evening. I have a few questions quickly. I know Serena Sifas to be a very learned lawyer, along with Arthur Johnson. I've been following both of them over a period of time. But the issue of lawyer being political, this is something that looks very different and complicated to me. There are many times with lawyers who come to discuss legal issues, but those who on the partner or the journalists who ask questions will try every means possible to make that man to sound political. And over the course of time, I think Serena people have been somehow political in his response or responses to some of the questions. Now, secondly, the issue of the war crime code that you say, I listen to all of his legal party. So at this time, are you saying in no way possible that the war crime code can be established in Liberia? Is that your suggestion? Or are you quoting the law? And the law will not even hold that war crime code should be established in Liberia.
Okay, then hold down and then take more calls. You will address that. 777017635 077701635. To this caller. Hello. I will not keep you on the line. If you call, dress away from your monitor. 077701763 the feedback. So you have to dress away. To this caller. Hello.
Hello?
Your name from where you join us?
I'm Timothy Lewis calling from Kotafi community.
Make your point. 1 minute.
Thank you so much. I love everything you are discussing there. I want to know to the Liberian DA director, the drugs that are being imported in Liberia, the ones that they are arresting, and those that are importing the drugs, what are they doing with them? And the issue of the worker code, I want to know and understand, is it only those that brought the war to Liberia, or who sold the bullet, the gun, the helicopters, the missiles to those people, where they got money from, to buy those ammunition to bring them to Liberia against the Liberians? Those people too should be arrested, or they are abandoning those people, only those that came with the war.
Okay. Thank you. 777017635 is the number to call. And then you're going to talk to our guests there tonight on the closing argument. 077701763 to this caller. Hello.
Yeah.
How are you? Name from where you join us? Please be audible a bit, please.
Yeah, so I want to find out from Mr. Stephen. Is it that the American law is
Sorry?
others are unfitted and they are still running their normal activities in the case of Denton water? That's one. Two, in it, they took responsibility of.
You are coming in broken.
You getting me loud now?
Go ahead.
I'm speaking. Ferito playing of her song and the vessel from Liberia. None of the people would have heard to be placed on sanctions.
Hold up.
Okay, thank you. The line is actually breaking. We are not getting
Henry, Henry, you mind if I throw the call in from here? You have another caller?
7701763 to this caller. Hello.
Okay. Caller, hold on 1 second.
I'm doing okay. And you?
Praise be to God, I'm fine.
And even what you doing?
Eric Bole is my name, and I call you from Chicken Soup Factory.
Okay, make your point.
I want to tell you thank you for the program. I want to just make my contribution, my impact on your program that is concerning the issue of this drugs business. Liberians, we have to help ourselves. We have to stand by and work with the DEA in order to control this drug importation and this drug smuggling into this country. Otherwise, I can see Liberia turning into a Jamaica, I don't know how you call it, a drug, consuming society that tomorrow will be running away from our own children because of the kind of attitude they have developed. And I would recommend to the government, you get many of these guys are roaming all about in the society, in the communities. They see someone there with bags, they are on dumpers here, and then they're doing nothing, they are useless in the city. Let them all be collected and sent somewhere. Let them make big agricultural production and bring it and sell it, and the government can use that same funding to feed them instead of them just all in the middle of people, and they are contributing nothing but rather being very destructive to the society. Let them be kept somewhere and be maintained, and let them contribute to their own survival. Thank you. That's my only contribution to your program, Papa. God bless you.
Thank you so kind of. God bless you as well. They got to do something. They shouldn't be setting free. 777017635. We'll take just 3 more, and then we'll turn back to take call from the diaspora also. To this caller. Hello.
Hello.
How are you? Name from where you join us? 1 minute.
I'm calling from the Kingdom of Village. I'm Plema.
Okay, Plema, make a point.
To the honorable man still this evening. Yeah, the God speaking for his divine idea to work our nation. All of people don't have this mindset. That is why suffering in the country, the minds of our leaders haven't been developed yet. So this is why really embarrassing us. Yeah, and to another thing.
Oh, our caller went away. Yes, thank you. Give the man his flower while he's alive. 770-17635. To this caller. Hello. Hello.
Yes, hello.
Your name from where you join us?
Yeah, this is Artist James Kelvin once more. You know, my brother, I forgot to talk on the issue of Jaws. My brother,
I'm going to tell you second because we other people call you call you 2 times.
It's a national emergency. We all need to come together, put our hands together to ensure that the issue of Jaws is fight. This needs to be done by all Liberians. And the young people are dying on a daily basis on the issue of Jaws.
Okay, thank you. We should come together and then further together as Liberians. That's the best thing to do because if you're not doing it, certainly I will tell you nobody will do it for you. If you're not strengthening this country, you only get up for advisement in other place, but you yourself got to put your feet to the fire, making sure that it happen on the red path. You'll be our very last caller. Hello.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm doing okay, and you?
I'm fine. I'm Lama Davis from Brookville.
From Broadville.
I want to say thank you to the counselor there in the studio. I really, you know, you called us sleep from my eyes. I want to ask a question on the issue that happened to our Liberian sister, who, by this American man, attempted to kill her. And the court.
You will have to dress away from the radio, or else I'll cut you off.
Okay, thank you. So you getting me now?
I'm still getting the feedback.
Okay, I think I'm okay now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So my question to the counselor there in studio, what does the Liberian law say about a person who committed crime on a Liberian and later the court acquitted this person and the person made away, let the person left the country? Does Liberia have this, law in the law that if this person is not, the case is not satisfied by the Liberian people, does the court recall for that person to come back in the country and go back into that case? Because this thing is not satisfying all of us, many of us, in fact. So that's my question to the counselor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so kindly. So call your day and then turn back to the panelists. Thank you for calling. I know some people placing a call, but they were able to get you.
All right, let's take our first caller here. And guys, for those of you back home, you want to call, I know we have an issue with the phone line here. I try to fix it, but I can't. If you want to call, just let me know. I will give you, actually, I'll give you a number to call right now. You can call that number, but please don't use it regularly because I will not answer it. Go ahead, Ben. We have Benjamin Jonah on the line here. Benjamin, go ahead.
I have a question for the counselor. Hey, Mr. Counselor, I remember there was a guy that you promised to send to Maryland to teach. How is that guy doing? Please, I would like to know how is that guy doing that you promised to send to Maryland. Thank you, Mr. Counselor.
Thank you. So the question was, you promised to send a guy to Maryland to teach. He wants to know how that guy's doing. Guys, for those of you that are looking to call in, Frank Musi called it 608-416-9794. Due to the fact that we have problem with the call line today, we will make that number available for you to call in. But that is it, 608-416-9794. We'll take 3 calls. Well, we'll make it 4, and then we'll call it out. I know people been trying to call in. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that we had a problem with the phone line. So, and if I decide to fix it now, we're gonna have to shut the show down. I don't want to do that. So please, if we don't have anybody calling in, yeah, we'll go. Let's go back to. I guess we'll go back to the counselor to respond. While he's responding, when we get calls, then we will address those. But yeah, all right, let's take this caller. We have this caller here. Let's take this caller real quick. Caller, your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, hi, this is Frank. I'm calling from Delaware.
Frank, let's hear from you. What's your question?
Yeah, thank you. It's very disappointing, to hear Liberians calling in. I don't know Serena Cephas, the clergyman, but it's very disappointing to hear them calling in and ringing high praises. I'm inspired for law school because of you. We all sat here and watched this man, right, connive with the government, whether it was Joseph Boycott and whoever else in George Weah, to bring a good man down. Right? Sometimes Liberians need to stand up and speak truth, so these people will not keep hurting you over and over. If he did it to one person, he's going to come back and do it again to something else that you care about. All right? So Serena Cephas was a terrible lawyer, a terrible SG for that case. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Again, folks. So let's go back and take the counselor's closing statement here. Hopefully, he was able to hear all of the questions that were and comments that were posed. Let's give him the opportunity to respond to all of them if he took note, and then we will give he will give his closing comment, and then we will kind of give ours and call it a night.
Yeah, I like the last caller who described me as a terrible presence for the case. That is his closing argument. But again, that's an opinion on our law. Article 15B of the 1986 Constitution gives every Liberian the right to hold an opinion separate and distinct from others. So what he just has spread is consistent. It's part of the constitutional right. For example, if you go to court and lose a case, or if somebody go to court and loses a case, you will say that was a terrible decision. That's an opinion. I'm not in the business to respond to opinion. I respond to law. Because in a closing argument, your closing argument should be backed by law. I listened to a colleague who said, you were promised to send somebody to Maryland to teach. I can't recall who the person was. Then I heard a fellow say there was a fellow, what's the case with Benjamin Taylor? I can't recall, because when I was Solicitor General, I dealt with so many cases from the field, from prosecutor. So I can't recall some of the cases.
Maybe I can help you if you want me to help. Just remind you quickly. I think it was the last comment you made regarding the Alexander Cummings case when you said once he's convicted, you will have him to volunteer out of school in one of the because we need teachers.
No, I didn't use the phrase once he's convicted. I said,
hey, okay, that's what I said. I'm not going forbidden.
Yeah. So it was conditional. Now, such was the time and such was the condition. And whatever happens to us is us. So I think that is the past. But I like the disco. I like the sharp exchange of opinion. The last caller said nobody should heap praises on me. Okay, I like that. I won't take any offense to that. But let me say this: I'm hurt every day when I see young Liberians are being dropped, and those in high places just believe that by sending your children to school or sending them abroad, while real Liberian children are in the street, is peace for our country. I think that is danger. I saw a visionary president, and I'm a beneficiary of his effort. In 1979, I was shining shoe right before Ministry of Finance, and President Talbot came to shine his shoe. And he shined his shoe. I shined his shoe. Then he asked me, "What do you want to be?" I said, "I want to be like you." He simply laughed. He said, "Are you going to school?" I said, "No." Then he took me and handed me over to one to Phyllis Cooper and wrote on a paper and gave it to me. I went to Miss Harris at GW Gibson. That's how I started going to school. I didn't pay a dime. They bought my uniform. They did it. And he declared war on ignorance, poverty, and disease. I think the president of this republic must do the same on drugs, because any president had not given me the opportunity to go to school, I would never have become a Solicitor General of my country. I think other Liberians need that. We need to do that. We need to reach out to one another. If you go in the street of Monrovia, ask them their name: Wia, Do, Chie, Kekula, Flomo, Jakpaulo, Kiahun, Zianzen, or Gonkanu. I mean, the real Liberian children are being dropped. And we sit and we say, if you send your children to school, if there is any crisis in the country tomorrow, and those boys finish taking their team, they go after your children. That is a spell. That is an inferno that is hanging over the country. It is not good
For the little 200, some of the guys who are importing the drug will give you, it will carry you nowhere. We have to fight. The president must declare drugs a national emergency. No mountain should be hard to climb. No valley should be too low to walk, and no river too deep to swim. Let the chips fall where they may. I still believe the police needs to investigate that 100 million drug case. I want to close on this to say, such was the time I performed my duty for my country. And I'm so happy that the president who has succeeded me is up to the task. I'm going to attend the takeover ceremony tomorrow. Augustine Fire is a great friend of mine, former justice minister in our school in Tottenham High School, former deputy speaker of our parliament, and a great friend for 44 years. I know he's capable. I think that one of the best appointments I have seen, because he was once assistant minister for litigation, and he goes to Solicitor General. Having said that, gentlemen, I want to say thank you. I didn't see any lady on this platform, if any. I think you guys are doing well. I'm open. I'm not afraid of any debate. Maybe my presentation may not be good, but you need to see from my right out. I will share with you the argument against war crime court and the argument for war crime court. I support war crime court. I in no way opposed to war crime court. All the constitutional provisions are there. And I said the creation of war crime court is a public interest, representation, was consistent with Article 1 of the 1986 Constitution for the happiness and safety of the people, and the legislature acted pursuant to Article 34B of the 1986 Constitution for the security of the state. So I do not oppose to war crime court. My friend and I, but I encourage him and I show him the law. So I think we are on the right trajectory. The only problem we now have, is that we set a benchmark of the qualification, experience, and competence of the person that will occupy the office. The person should be on the ICC. The person should be somebody as a lawyer certified by the African Court on Human and People's Rights, the International Criminal Court in The Hague, the International Residual Mechanism for all international criminal courts and tribunal. That person should be qualified because he's going to be a special envoy. I think that's the only thing that we need to do. Thank you very much, gentlemen. This is my closing argument. I don't know which one would have been better than what I'm doing now.
Thank you so much, Councilor Cephas. It was great having you on here. We appreciate the fact that you accepted our invitation. Like many others, they run away from the closing argument for whatever reason, best known to themselves. But you accepted to be here today, and you engage the audience as well as our panelists in the way that we appreciate, giving our audience the needed show and information that is in the best interest of transformation for Liberia. So we appreciate you for accepting the invitation and being here today. Please make the closing argument your home. Do not stay away. Liberians can hopefully benefit from your knowledge and understanding of the legal proceedings, hopefully in the not too distant future, you utilizing the platform to the best of your ability. So thank you, and we appreciate you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Guys, there you have it. The counselor came on. He, I guess, made a case, defending himself. Let us close on it. Let us take at least the next 2 minutes. Well, let's say about 5 minutes to kind of analyze, and we got to cut it out. Hopefully, in the next at least by 8:10 my time, we can say goodbye to our people. Let's kind of analyze his appearance, and then we can give our closing comment. What do you guys make of his response to the questions? His his demeanor, his posture, and everything else that came with the interview. What do you guys make of it?
I personally think, Councillor Serena Cephas is very versed of the law. Mm-hmm. He definitely understands the laws of the country, and the fact that he was able to speak to many of the trending legal issues in the country that was very welcoming, and you could hear the color perspective on most of these issues. I think the issue of even reawakening this 100 million trust case is a very serious issue. It's something the government can think about. That thing had a dent on the entire country. It has to be re-looked at. The actors, and these are part of the things this entire rescue mission came into being for. And they've consistently talked about some of the things in the past administration that they were here to rescue and to clean up. I think this is one of those issues. The issue of the asset recovery, I think he was very knowledgeable. He brought some. And this is the thing. I mean, we have to get back to some of these key actors to understand how they made it. I was very shocked to hear about some $685,000 that was raised. I don't think the current asset recovery team that we have even raised a dime, you know, and this was news even for me that 685,000 were raised during the WEAS administration. If they have stretched it beyond, just the way it prematurely ended, I think the country will have raised a lot of money. And the whole issue of, today, one of the key reasons why the entire asset recovery is in RICMA role, that we all know, is both over budgetary allotment and resources. When the first 300,000 or so landed, the whole place became very chaotic. But from what Councillor Cephas, narrated tonight, the asset recovery team is able to raise its own money and will even be able to support government's budget. Unfortunately, we have an asset recovery that is looking into government's budget to find money. It's very disappointing. I hope they listen tonight. People need to tap onto some of these doors and some of the knowledge these people bring, and just don't think that, okay, because a person working this administration or that administration, there's no reason to interact, to talk to them and all of that. I think this is what the government is feeling. They who supported the government. And I see many of the people, even in the government today, saying it's not necessary to bring other people. You don't have all of the expertise. You don't have all of the professional. All right. You have a president who you said, has some 42 plus years experience, and you can see how the system is going. You have to tap onto other people and their knowledge and their experiences, and will be able to help the government. I think the government needs to go beyond just the people that voted for them. Thank you.
Robert, what is your analysis of his contribution, everything that was done? Let's hear from you.
Yeah, man, I was it was a fascinating show as always. And just to add to what you said, don't run from the closing argument. You should come and let's have great conversations like we just did. He answered some tough questions. At some point, it kind of maybe got a little uncomfortable for him, but he withstood it, and we had a great exchange. I will re-echo what Toga said. So 600, almost, it's over $250,000. That's amazing, but these were things that the public did not know about. Maybe this is part of the reason why CDC did not win the elections, right? A lot of successes, a lot of things that were done were not properly communicated, right? I think those in charge of information dissemination was on free lunch, pretty much. But I thought that he was good. The man seems to be pretty mature. He didn't take anything personal, and that's what we want. We want people to come on and discuss the issues. I still maintain that I think that the common is what is happening right now with him and Musa Din. It's clear that he does not like the way Musa have treated him. He still doesn't understand. He doesn't have closure. I think he looked at Musa Din as a friend and as a colleague, and the fact that he's not been able to understand why he was treated the way he was treated, I think still kind of plays with them. And he thinks that all of this has a lot to do with the sanction. I was shocked though that he could still travel abroad, and he still goes to Europe and everywhere else but the U.S. And whatnot. But it was a great interview. I hope he has his day in court. If I was him, I know he says that look, the accused has nothing to prove, but if I was accused, I think I would push for a trial in court, either internationally or domestically, to clear my name, and then let's see what the U.S. or those who made the allegation. Let's see exactly what they says about it. But It was a great show. It was a great show. Great
Quick,
question.
before you guys leave, though, I'm a little concerned about a couple of things that he highlighted. That the fact that the president did not listen to all of his suggestions based on the import from Councillor Musa Din, and he highlighted that on so many occasions in almost all of his statements. He highlighted Musa Din. What do you make of it? I mean, just considering that he's going through what he's going through today, though, should we
So,
now?
so, so.
Oh,
Still
Toga,
got moved to Grandpa, so you probably get a little better internet.
you frozen.
Robert, go ahead. Go ahead. I mean, what do you think of that emphasis on Musa Din's participation in other things? A lot of Liberians have been concerned about Musa Din's in behavior when it comes to the legal system and everything else that he's involved with. What do you make of the fact that Serena Cephas is not highlighting this as part of what got him to where he is today?
I think he knows more than he said, right? I do think he knows more than he said. But I will say though that remember a lot of citizens does not fancy Musa Din. They don't like the guy.
Oh,
Right? They don't like the guy, and just for confident purposes, there's a lot of different things that I've heard about. What the president's opinion of him. But I don't think a lot of people like him for reasons best known to them. But Musa Din is also a smart lawyer. You remember the case when they want to quote. I think that was part of the reason why he even became justice minister when he represented the CDC at the election commissions, right? When they want to quote. But I do think he wants to highlight that Musa Din is not a good person, and he did not treat him fairly. That's why he keeps emphasizing it. But Cephas is a smart lawyer. He knows his craft. I would not take that away from him. But just like Musa Din, I don't think Cephas is a saint. But he wants to. If you give him the opportunity, he will tell you why he thinks Musa is not a great guy.
Do you believe? Somebody just commented, and let's close on this note. We got to go. Somebody said it was a fight for supremacy, something like more like fighting for power. Do you believe that though?
No, but Serena Cephas, he didn't. If I think if anything, he would be mad that Musa did not help him get to the next level. But it's not a situation like the Fadigas and the AB right now, right? George Weah, for instance, would have never fired if anything came up. George Weah would have never suspended Musa Din. If anyone would have gone, would have been, Cephas, right? Musa Din has the audience of the president. He has a close relationship with the president, and I think to some extent the president trusted him, right? And so, Cephas came in. He did everything he needed to do. He just did not get the trust and the support of his boss, and he feels as though the boss felt like he was a threat to his job. But was it a possibility that Serena Cephas would have ascended to that level? I don't know. Probably if he had gotten the support of Musa Din, had Musa Din gone to the Supreme Court, then he would have been next in line. I don't know, but obviously there's a beef there.
You mentioned something that I felt like I needed to highlight. You said what was the guy name? The Fadiga brother versus Abraham, the LDA issue. Just to highlight to our audience, Hassan was saying today, working. How is it that you suspended somebody? The person was working today. Hassan was working today.
But he's using your own money. You're using your own money.
But using his own money though, but isn't that, a form of gross disrespect? Because you were suspended. You should have nothing to do with the LDA until you're reinstated.
Did he have uniform? Did he have the badge?
Yes, there were LDA. I got the video. It's too late. I would have played it.
Is it recent video or old video?
I'm talking about a video that I just came up today. You talking about recent video?
Really?
A video I was just watching today.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, hold on. Are these guys really thinking? And I have to go back again, just to kind of watch that and see. All of the guys that were in that video, they had LDEA uniform with the badge and everything on. And again, it was claimed that it was under the supervision of Hassan, to the extent where the portion of the video I watched, I didn't see him in the video, but it was stated that. So I got to go back and watch it just to be clear, so we are not mistaken here. But it happened today, and they were breaking down structures and other things. So it's kind of scary that we're back to this point. I just wanted to bring that up, but I think it was a great show, though. Guys, you guys have a good night. Hopefully, you guys will be back here tomorrow. Unfortunately, I won't be here because I'm traveling. So, but great.
All right, man. Safe travels.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Guys, you guys have yourselves a good night now. Thanks for supporting the closing argument. We are out of here.